All right, hello everyone. Welcome back. This is the Paper Mario GSA Glitchless Invitational semifinal. Actually, it's the bronze match. We just had our semifinal match between JCog and Butterlord. Now JCog will play ch0msky for the bronze award, the third place, before we have our final very soon. So looks like they're about to start, and we'll get into it. I'm Blue Crystal. Hopefully soon to be joined by co-commentators I'm Glower and Icewind. All right, looks like they're ready to go. Yeah, so this is going to be fun because, in my opinion, these are probably the two closest glitchless runners on the leaderboards. Maybe not necessarily in terms of time, but I think it's very possible these two could go back and forth in their PBs, and certainly back and forth in this race. They're very close in terms of skill, have very close PBs. Both have a 346, probably shooting for a 347, 348 in this race, which would be a very good time. And they've shown and demonstrated that they can get really good times in a race setting. So we'll see how it plays out. The last couple of races have seen some really good gameplay from both of these guys. And both of them losing in their semifinal match. Kind of a combination of RNG and just the other player also playing really well. But we will definitely get to see some really good gameplay from these guys today. And yeah, perfect sync. No timer issues today. And probably not too much divergence in this Peach's Castle movement. Both, again, very close in terms of skill and movement. One thing I do want to point out is that I'll kind of get into this later, but I'm sure ch0msky will go for a lot more spin cancels than JCog will. Just that's kind of his style of play. So I'll definitely be sure to point those out as they happen. And we will see how much of a difference that makes in their times. A little bit of an earlier race tonight, or I guess maybe not tonight, depending on where you live, but it's a 5 p.m. Eastern time, as opposed to, I think the last one was 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, so that one was a little late, but we have a nice spot today in the early evening. So hope everyone is ready for a comfy 4-hour glitchless race. ch0msky a little bit of a lead. Doesn't quite matter this early, but I noticed JCog did get stuck on some stuff in the castle. So hopefully a little cleaner for the rest of Prologue. Peach's Castle is not too important. The rest of Prologue, I would say, is more important to optimize, a little tougher as well. And hi to everyone in the chat. Smoking Monkey, Blue Bob, our own Blue Bob, and Kesha, and Shy, and Lopez. So yeah, if you're not familiar with these runners, I guess I'll give a little background on them. ch0msky is really a glitchless runner at heart. I mean, both of these guys really are. Obviously, they have fantastic times, both of them. ch0msky hasn't really dabbled in other categories, but is definitely really on the grind in glitchless, especially recently. He is really trying to get a 345, and he's come really close. And JCog also very capable of a 345 as well. Both playing really consistently, really well recently, both in races and in PB attempts. So, see a good match, I'm sure. But JCog also kind of branching out to some other categories, the glitched categories in this game. Also really interesting runs if you want to check him out sometime. But yeah, so he's really kind of all around, but started as a glitchless runner, still a really big glitchless runner. So we will see how both these runners do today. And I am not sure of the exact times that they've gotten in this race or in these races so far. JCog last time, I believe, got a 347. ch0msky a 348, I think, in their semifinal matches. I can't really remember the exact times of their round one, or I'm sorry, quarterfinal matches, but I'm sure I believe they were both sub 350, so consistently really good times from both of these guys, and definitely from the way ch0msky's been playing on his own stream and PB attempts, and JCog having PB'd twice this month already. I think both of them are really ready to play in this race. Hopefully you won't get too tired of the sound of my voice before we get someone else in here. People were pretty busy today. It was the weekend. And so I know Icewind will be joining us later, and I'm Glower, who has commentated before with me. So hopefully we get some fresh voices and perspectives in here soon. I don't want to bore you all. But starting off with the actual gameplay now, and now I'm very synced. ch0msky, a little bit of a flub there, making up for the Peach's Castle movement. And still perfect sync 7 minutes in, so. Thanks, Headness. I appreciate that, but I disagree. And also, I wanna bring up a fact, a figure, if you will, that Headnisk recently crunched the numbers for. Turns out, July 2019 has seen the most Paper Mario speedrun submissions to the leaderboards in history. So we're really happy about that. Hopefully, an upward trend continues in the future. All right, headed into Junior Troopa's playground here, getting the hammer. See who can hit this block. Well, this can be a tricky one to get to since it's off screen and this camera has a weird movement. ch0msky just barely grabbing it, and he will be ahead here. JCog stuck on the box a little, so both a little bit of flubs in their prologue movement from what we've seen, but not too big. I'm sure both of them will still have very good Gimbario times. And just to bring up a quick thing that you'll see for the rest of the game, when Mario uses a jump move, just to give some background, he does like a little squat before jumping, and that squat can actually be canceled. It's called a quick jump. If you press A during that animation, you'll see that typically Mario will jump very quickly, and that squat will last for only a couple of frames. And that can save up to 10 frames depending on the timing of the A press. So that's really big for these guys because they're at such a high level that they really do want to save those 10 frames on every jump move. It can add up pretty quickly. So yeah, ch0msky a pretty clear lead here in early prologue. We're about the midpoint of prologue. And you'll see their movement kind of diverge here. ch0msky's going along the top of this room. JCog's going along the bottom. Supposedly going along the top is a little faster, but I believe they're fairly comparable. And the top is riskier, I think. You're just, you have a lot less room to work with, so. Still looking like very good Goombario times from both of these guys. They'll probably be aiming for a sub 11 or a few seconds under 11 minutes. Getting power jump as well, saying no to Goompa's tutorial. And yeah, if you have any JCog or ch0msky emotes to use on Twitch, or GSA emotes to use on Twitch, be sure to use them throughout this run. I'm sure there'll be a fair bit of hype to go around, and definitely a lot of bless RNG moments. JCog with the quick movement around that spiked Goomba skating by along the top, so both of those guys getting through that room, those two rooms, without a big problem. JCog's a little further to the left. Gonna save some time exiting the battle for that. We'll see how their movement is in this fight. Could save or lose a lot of time in this fight just because it is pure menuing. I can assure you I'm alright. I hope I don't sound too depressed. Maybe Icewind will be here soon to balance things out a little. Making quick work of the Goomba Bros here. ch0msky still with a second or two, probably about 2 seconds lead, maybe more, as we go into the Goomba King fight. So a decent lead for ch0msky here in prologue, but 2 or 3 seconds can definitely not, it can definitely be made up and more in Chapter 1. So we'll see how that goes for both of them. Hopefully, no terrible RNG for these guys. JCog got some pretty bad RNG in his last race, so he's due. And I guess this is my first hydration reminder. Remember to stay hydrated during this race, just because it's a long race and you don't want to get too caught up in it. ch0msky getting the quick attack, saving 8 frames. Both of them getting the quick attack, so no time lost there for JCog. So they'll hit the switch and head up on to I guess the first Peach cutscene, but it's really not a Peach cutscene at all. It is more like a Bowser scene. So that's a little break for them before the next section of prologue. Yes, grab your water, grab a few water bottles, stuff like that. Maybe a snack as well for this long, arduous journey. And Sebmax, thanks for the 4 months, Sebmax, to GSA. Much appreciated. Thanks for your support. Hopefully you're ready for a couple of hours of this. So I want to say it looks like a 3 to 5 second lead for ch0msky, just eyeballing it, which is actually pretty major. It's one of the biggest leads I think we've seen in prologue so far. So hopefully JCog can kind of reverse that trend throughout the rest of the race. JCog's movement is very solid though, so I've no doubt that he can make up a lot of that. Assuming we don't have any RNG disasters, movement and menuing will probably be the things that save or lose the most time for these runners. There are a few RNG elements in fights that could make them go a little faster, a little slower. And definitely in Chapter 1, we'll be seeing a fair bit of RNG. Some of the biggest RNG factors, in fact. So hopefully it goes well for both of these guys, and it will really just come down to their movement, their menuing, and just how consistent they can be across this 4-hour race. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll see if there's still a big divide in their movement when Speedy Spin comes into play. Movement is definitely a lot different then. And these rooms have some of the most interesting movement. That room JCog just went through has a lot of bumps and strange angles before that bridge. So some of this movement is very hard to optimize, both of them getting through those rooms just fine. And headed up to Shooting Star Summit. About to talk to Eldstar and about to come up on the first actual Peach cutscene. And very good Eldstar time for ch0msky right here. It's a 1709, something like that. So definitely a decent lead for ch0msky so far. This is a little surprising. You don't usually see leads like this in prologue. And so we'll see how Chapter 1 goes for both of these guys. Definitely a lot of time to be lost or to be saved in Chapter 1. And just for reference, I think ch0msky... So a lot of runners for this game use what's known as a clamp. You just like buy it at some hardware store or something. And you just clamp your B button down, and since the B button being held advances text frame perfectly, that's how you can get through a lot of long text cutscenes, such as these. So I believe both these guys have clamps, but I think ch0msky actually lost his a couple weeks ago, so I'm not sure if he's playing with a clamp. It's definitely an advantage when you have a long cutscene and you kind of got to use the bathroom, but you would have to keep holding text. Yeah, I think he lost his. I don't know. I don't know if he found it, but he did misplace it at some point, so he's part of the no clamp gang right now. Saying no to another tutorial as they get the action command, the Lucky Star. Now able to use action commands offensively and defensively in battles. So you see that right here. This fight, actually, it's just a bit of basic menuing, but this block right here, blocking this attack actually saves like 4 frames. Somewhere in that ballpark. So, oh, JCog actually missed it, so there's 4 frames down the drain. This game does run at 30 frames per second, so 1 frame is more time than in other games that may run at 60. Still, those 4 frames not too crucial, but anything that can add up over the course of the run, such as quick jumping, will, come in handy for sure. Alright, making decent time with this prologue. Just going to talk to the Black Toads, talk to Merlin, and then back to the Black Toads to get to Chapter 1. We'll see what kind of prologue times they both have. I'm sure both are probably going to get under a 21:55 prologue, which is kind of the top level standard, I guess. Alright, ch0msky is getting out of Merlin's house. And yeah, looking like a pretty good prologue time. Flubs his movement a little bit there. But probably around a 21:51 if I had to guess. Yeah, 21:50. So very solid prologue time. JCog 21:53. Both quite good prologue times, but ch0msky does have a 3-second lead here entering Chapter 1. Definitely 3 seconds can be easily made up in Chapter 1, so we will see what happens. ch0msky not getting that cutscene overlap with the POW block and the switch, but JCog flubbing the hitting the block a little bit. Need these 10 coins for speedy spin later, so they do not want to miss any coins. If they do, they'll have to take a pretty big time loss and go get some backups. Actually, there is 1 extra coin built into the route, so they have 1 coin to work with. So if they get an encounter, they do need to collect the coins that they'll lose from running away. At least until halfway through Chapter 2, when we don't need to worry about any coins whatsoever. I'm buying a few items, 3 POW blocks, a fire flower, just for use in the Chapter 1 fights. Gonna have to do a lot of damage with items in these fights. Don't have much power yet, so items will do a fixed amount of damage, and that can be really good. If you get a guaranteed 3 damage, for example, with a fire flower, that is definitely really useful. So you're going to see that first instance of that coming up here in the fuzzy fight. First, I have to get through the fuzzy minigame. ch0msky messed this minigame up in his previous semifinal race against Glower, and that was definitely a big time loss. I think he, kind of regrets that. Maybe had a shot at a big upset if that had not happened. But just got to hammer the right trees. The number of bounces that the fuzzy does is random, and as well as which tree it goes into. So a little bit of RNG here. We could see that 3 seconds made up. Probably not. Maybe a little bit of time. And yeah, this third round with the fuzzy shell or the Cooper shell is very quick. And that's where ch0msky messed up in his last race, but gets it this time. JCog as well. JCog looks like he got a little bit less lucky with the pattern. Looks like he's losing a little more time. So about a 5-second lead for ch0msky here going into the fuzzy fight. And the lead will mean a lot more after Chapter 1. There is a lot that could go wrong in Chapter 1, specifically one fight in particular. There's a little bit of an RNG element to that, which could lose about 15 seconds for one of the runners if it doesn't go well, or even more if it goes really poorly. But for now, both grabbing HP plus for use on the final Bowser fight. We're not going to upgrade HP a lot in this race, so HP plus is pretty essential for the final Bowser fight, just because we need to tank a few of his hits, and he does do a lot of damage, being the final boss. I am kind of doing the solo casting right now. Hopefully Icewind very shortly joins me, and perhaps Glower as well, so hopefully you'll get to hear some of their commentary as well. And we'll see if either of them get trolled by this flying Koopa. Now, ch0msky skates right by on the bottom there. And JCog, JCog with a sweet spin down right to get by him. So, very clean from both runners there. Alright, so both of them getting this first strike on this Koopa, this fight for the key to the door. They're going to level up here and level up FP. Be leveling up FP quite a bit, as that allows them to do a lot of powerful moves. That's kind of the stuff that, you use up when you use special moves, like your mana. And getting by these bob-ombs, we will see them pick up a badge pretty shortly. Power Bounce, very essential for this run. They're going to be using that a lot on enemies. It'll allow them to bounce multiple times if they hit the action command. So, very useful for dealing a lot of damage, especially when combined with other badges. Both of them getting decent RNG with the Koopa position there. Just able to spin into the battle. And a Pow Block and Power Shell taking care of this fight. And yeah, coming up is the big RNG thing I was talking about. So earlier they picked up a Fright Jar from one of the blocks in Chapter 1. And they will use that. It has they'll use it on 2 paratroopers. And that has a 90% chance of working on each one. So it's an 81% chance to work on both, which they would very much like. It's about a 15-second loss if it fails on one. And then a double fail would be really bad. That's only a 1% chance though. So first they go through this fight. This is pretty standard. But then we will get to that Fright Jar RNG in just a second. So yeah, bless RNG for ch0msky going into this Fright Jar. All right, and both getting a double success there. That's what you like to see. And will skate by without a problem. JCog got a freight jar fail in his last race, which was pretty unfortunate. And not only does it waste about 15 seconds, you have to do a little bit of a different strat here. That also messes up some XP routing for later in the run. And not too crucial, but still a little bit of time loss. And getting these coins from these fire bars, jumping over them 10 times. A little bit of a bad coin spread for ch0msky here. JCog will do that bar on the way back. But they're going to leave these coins here, get the key, and come back for these coins. And ch0msky will grab all of them, no problem. So it looked like JCog had a little bit of a better coin spread. But regardless, ch0msky's still in the lead here as we exit the pit. This is looking like we will get ch0mglower to hop in here on commentary and join me in just a second. No, the run on the left is not on emulator. These are both on original Nintendo 64 hardware. And I believe that's Glower. Welcome to the call, Glower.
Hey, what's up?
Well, we have a fairly close race in Chapter 1. No, ch0msky's about 5 seconds ahead, it looks like. No freight jar fails, nothing like that. Just movement, basically. And hopefully we'll be able to see Icewind join us in just a little bit. Looked like a 49 bomb bet for ch0msky and a 54 for JCog. So yeah, 5-second difference between the two. Hopefully keeping about that pace exiting Chapter 1. And that will be a very close lead heading into some more RNG with Speedy Spin. So not much to be said about the jail fight, but coming up they will be doing a trick, I guess, that involves kind of jumping around some walls, just with a few precise jumps. And we call those pie jumps, so you'll see them in a second when they climb the fortress here. First getting the key, trying to lure this Koopa Bro away from the crack so that they can use Bomb Bet. If you don't lure the Koopa away and try and use Bomb Bet, she can first strike the Koopa, and you do not want to get that encounter. Encounters are about a 10 to 12 second loss, and even more so now that they, this early when they have to grab coins that drop, so would not be good to get an encounter. ch0msky coming up on these pie jumps, going to switch to Cooper, and see how pie jumps go. Hopefully neither of them fail them. It's about a 40-second loss, somewhere on that scale, if they fail them, and save about 15 over not going for them. So he gets the first one, and not going to opt to do the second one. Maybe JCog wants to make up a little time here. Yes, he does. Alright, and JCog will make up a little bit of time there doing that second pie jump. It does save a little bit less time and is a lot harder. Or not a lot harder, but definitely harder and less worth it than the first one. So ch0msky's smart, opting to, kind of use his lead to just have that little bit of a buffer there and go for the safe strat. JCog making up a little bit of time going for that, though, and getting it. Yes, hello Max. Max would like to remind you all that you should get some of that GSA merch. He's conveniently provided the link in chat. So be sure to go buy some of that and support GSA events. Alright, ch0msky's about to do, well, both of them about to do the bullet bills, the cannons. They don't want to get these encounters. ch0msky, a little risky spinning there, doing these spins. Alright, he gets through it fine. And is, ooh, flubs the first strike, or maybe he's just waiting for the cannon to shoot. But JCog will make up a fair bit of time there, and they're probably only about a second's difference here. 1 to 2 seconds. So definitely very close, heading into the Koopa Bros fight here to end Chapter 1. Gonna hit this hard block and grab the coins, hopefully. Good coin spread for ch0msky there. And both heading into the final fight of Chapter 1, so definitely a very close race so far, but we'll see how that pans out. So not much to say about this fight. Very basic, kind of standard fight. Just doing 3 attacks before the second phase, which is the actual Koopa Bros fight. But also a very simple phase. We'll just be using a couple items to take out the Koopa Bros in 2 turns. 2.5 turns, I guess, is more like it.
So there's 4 enemies here. You would think that they would give 40 star points, but they actually only give 38. And that's because I think 2 of the Koopa Bros are actually worth less than the other 2, which is kind of a weird thing about this game.
That is very strange, yeah. I did not know that.
That's something I learned very recently. So 2 of them are actually worth 10 star points, the other 2 are worth 9 when Mario's at level 2.
Do you happen to know which ones those are? Just so we can see which one Nintendo likes better. Be interested to see if Intelligent Systems favored, for example, the green Koopa Bro over the yellow one. In any event, both runners finishing up with Chapter 1, and only about a 2-second difference for them here, so very close still. Coming up on the first Peach cutscene, which doesn't have anything too major. Gonna find out this secret entrance to one of the rooms in Bowser's castle, or Peach's castle, I'm sorry. But getting around Bowser's guards. And they're just going to read Bowser's diary, pretty much. Tells him some stuff about Dry Ruins, Dry Desert, the story. Stuff we don't really need to pay too much attention to. And also not much time to be saved or lost here. So they have some movement out of Chapter 1 coming up. Going to take Pleasant Path back to Toad Town and fight Junior Troopa again on the way. This is one of 6 Junior Troopa fights, I want to say. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8 prologue. So this is the Chapter 1 fight with Junior Troopa. And he's fairly simple in this fight, but a little tougher in future fights, for sure. Both saying no to their last tutorial here from Eldstar. Gonna get by that Paracupa here again. No problem for Chomsky. Pretty easy on the way back. JCog took a little bit of extra time with the Koopa just because he didn't see him straight away. But both out of there, headed back to the Junior Troopa fight. Also picking up Dizzy Attack there for use in Chapter 8. So very far down the line. Yes, after this fight, which is pretty self-explanatory, they are going to be hoping to get Speedy Spin, which is a badge sold at the badge shop in Toad Town. At this point in the game, it has a 75% chance to be in stock, or I guess shown as one of the 3 items, 3 badges in the shop. They definitely want that 75% chance, because if they don't, they're going to have to go 2 screens away to reset the shop. And that's like 20 seconds, 20 to 25 seconds lost there. So, yes, both hoping for first try Speedy Spin. And hopefully can maintain that small difference. Upgrading FP. Once more, most of the upgrades are going to be of FP, just because they are going to need to use a lot of special moves to deal a lot of damage very quickly. In fact, HP only gets upgraded once throughout the course of the run, just before the Chapter 6 boss fight, because that one's a little tougher than the previous ones. Alright, a first try Speedy Spin there from Chomsky, so... Alright, and both getting first try, both not getting the scary 3rd slot of the shop. Equipping it immediately, and you can see how fast they're now spinning. JCog appearing... Yeah.
For some reason, this strange man does not get the seed before Chapter 2.
Yeah, very strange. So, Chomsky's going to appear very far ahead now to JCog, but Chomsky did opt not to pick that seed up now. It doesn't matter when he picks it up. Well, he'll pick it up at the end of Chapter 2, after Chapter 2 is over, which is not slower or faster as far as I'm aware. But, so the time difference will even out after Chapter 2 is over.
I'm of the opinion that it's faster to get the seed before Chapter 2, because when you are heading towards the forest, you can cancel your 2nd spin on the ledge easily. But who knows, maybe it's faster to get it after.
That's true. There is probably some small movement optimization that makes one of the options a little bit faster in a task. And Drogi, thanks for the sub to twitch.tv/speedrun. Drogi, the SM64 Pape legend, recently had a very, very good time in Paper Mario Glitchless. So thank you for the 6 months to GSA. Much appreciated, Drogi. So we'll see how their movement goes on Mount Rugged. JCog's, I don't know if it's S-Video or something he does, but JCog's colors look a little darker than ch0msky's for sure here on Mount Rugged.
Yeah, it could be their capture card or their settings, or S-Video versus composite. It could be any of those. And I'm not sure which capture card either of them use.
Yeah, one of the great mysteries of our time. Anyway, both having decent movement so far.
Whose quality looks better to you?
Good question. I think I like ch0msky's colors better, but I think JCog has higher quality. I'm not sure. They may both be using S-Video, but it's looking like JCog is using S-Video. I'm not sure if ch0msky is. Drogi saying that ch0msky's looks like VC apparently to Drogi. I don't know if VC has lighter colors or something like that. Not even sure which VC he's talking about.
He, of course, is talking about Vanish Cap from Mario 64.
Of course.
Not Virtual Console.
Okay, according to Shy, ch0msky has composite, while JCog has S-Video capture.
Nice spin cancel from ch0msky. JCog didn't get it, but it didn't really look much slower, so not a big deal. If you actually go too quickly in the room ch0msky just did, the one that JCog is about to do, you can actually outrun the mouse. That's a pretty weird thing. Both players now getting the Pulse Stone, which will unlock the ruins for them.
Yeah, so they are about to enter the Dry Ruins, and it's a pretty interesting area for a speedrun. Just because the geometry of the dungeon is curved, and that makes it so every angle can't be held straight right or left like you normally would, but instead it has to be curved a little upwards or a little downwards to adjust for that slight curvature. So definitely hard to optimize your movement in this dungeon in particular, so we'll see how both of these runners do with that.
This is also another one of those cutscenes where you do not have to hold the B button or anything. It just plays itself out for, I think it's like 40 seconds or something, so it's a nice little break from any inputs. And it's one of the prettier cutscenes, in my opinion, in this game.
Yeah, definitely a pretty beautiful cutscene with the dark sky, kind of purple sand as it rises majestically out of the ground. Oh no, ch0msky gonna take that encounter after getting Spike Shield. So
ch0msky went for a hammer to get the Spike Shield badge quicker, and it ended up hurting him in this case.
Yeah, so still a little bit ahead of JCog, but very close now. Taking that encounter was ch0msky. So most of the first part of the dungeon, just draining the sand, getting the keys. Second part is kind of getting these stones to put in these statues. Just a little puzzle. And so that's what they're going to be doing before getting to the boss fight. And yeah, probably JCog is indeed ahead of ch0msky now. It's a small difference, but JCog has gotten the seed already, and ch0msky will need to get that when they get back to Toad Town. So hopefully JCog can hang on to that lead until he gets there. And then we'll truly see how far ahead one player is.
After hitting that block, you can move for 1 frame.
And Mario also gets an enlarged head.
Yeah. It's really weird. It just happens. Mario's head just grows in size for some reason. Happens every time, too.
I'm of the opinion that it was intentional, but some people don't feel like that. And yeah, Lopez, that I believe was the first encounter. Unless I missed something important. That was the first encounter for these racers. Not expecting too many from these players. They are pretty good at getting around enemies.
The first strike is no problem for these guys. JCog had a slightly better shell shot.
Yeah, shell shot is kind of an overlooked RNG element in this game. The starting position of the shell shot, aim cursor, isn't quite. It's not. Well, it's random between, I guess, the top and bottom of the range. I'm not really sure where it can start, but so it doesn't always get to the hitbox of the enemy as fast as possible, and it's not a huge RNG element that people worry about, but definitely is one. So some battles can be, you know, frames longer, or even like half a second longer, just because of a shell shot difference. Sabers, I think I've only heard the one. I'm not sure. ch0msky having a little bit of trouble opening the chest. And no swag hammer on that chest for either of the runners.
Yeah, shell shot can spawn anywhere within the range where it can spawn. Runners never usually immediately flick it because the odds of you hitting are very low. Unless the enemy is really big.
Yeah.
When the enemy is like really large, shell shot's hitbox pretty much is the size of the enemy.
I only know of 4 enemies you can flick for shell shot, and I mean Glower probably knows more, but Final Bowser, Tubba Blubba, Huff and Puff, and Electro Blooper, whatever the highest blooper is. I think it's Electro Blooper.
Super blooper.
Oh, Super Blooper? Okay, well. Yeah, so you can flick the shell shot on those enemies, but not sure about any others.
Yeah,
and Pack.
Wait, did you say Huff and Puff?
Yeah, I said Huff and Puff. Pack, thank you so much for 13 months. A 13-month sub to GSA. GSA has like barely been around for 13 months, so thank you for your support, Pack. Much appreciated. And yeah, GSA. I don't think that's quite right. Funky Billiards, but yeah, I hope everyone's ready for this comfy 3 more hours of paid. Can you get this first strike on the chomp and go up and grab the stone in the meantime? Alright, so now putting the first couple of stones in the statues, and you can see just how close this race is, except there is that difference of the seed, but it's still within a few seconds, even considering that.
Yeah,
just going to... Yeah.
Very close race right now. The runners are pretty much on par with each other.
Yeah, definitely what we expected to see out of these 2 runners. As I was mentioning at the start of the race, probably the 2 closest glitchless runners in terms of skill. And they're both really capable of even like a 346 in this race is not too out of the question. Both probably wanting a 347 again. But both have been very consistent recently, and I think we could see this lead change quite a few more times before the end of the run. That's a good question, Serendipity. I want to know where those people are.
Okay, so like when Toot and Koopa starts talking, like as soon as the camera zooms in on him, after he's done talking, you can actually move for 1 frame. So let it be known, guys. This is a thing you can do, and yeah, right before the battle starts, you can move. So that'll help you get closer to the card.
By about a unit.
About it. So. What?
by about a unit or a couple of units or so. Or can you only move for one frame?
You can move for one frame, but you can spin during that frame. So you can actually, like, I guess it just saves you a frame of movement when you have to approach the card.
Right, yeah. I mean, everything counts. So both going through the Tuten Koopa fight, pretty easy for both these runners. Just a little bit to keep in mind of menuing and timing on their jumps with the chomp there. And that fight kind of flew by. We were talking about that movement there, but yeah, pretty quick fight, very clean from both runners. Still, yeah, a few seconds difference. So really cool to see at the end of chapter 2, an hour in, and still extremely close.
That's a really solid time for JCog there, I think.
Solid time for both these racers, of course. No,
Yeah.
well, ch0msky did have that one encounter, but yeah, probably a little better for JCog, considering he does not have to get that seed on the way back, which ch0msky does. But regardless, very close race. ch0msky is playing very well, despite that encounter, to keep it really close. Alright, so the first Peach scene where you can really have a chance of getting caught, you're going to be going to the library to get some info about the next Star Spirit for Mario. And they do have to go around some guards, so this is the one of a couple stealth sections. I guess all the Peach scenes are kind of stealth sections, but this one in particular, you just have to sneak around the guards in the library, not too difficult. Kind of wonder if anyone's accidentally picked up Power Rush during this Peach cutscene. It is pretty far back. Alright, back to get out of this desert. So on their way out of the desert, they are both going to be picking up a Thunder Rage, which is an item they will be using on the next Junior Troopa fight. And that's important because they skipped a Thunderbolt, which you would otherwise grab. It is faster to get this Thunder Rage. You'd normally buy, or I guess a different route would have you buy a Thunderbolt from the shop, an extra Thunderbolt from the shop in Chapter 2. But about to head out of the desert, and they'll be headed back to Toad Town, where ch0msky will pick up he'll pick up the magical seed that he did not on his way there. JCog opted to pick it up on the way to the train, so he will not have to get that. And after that, we'll have a better comparison of the two runners' times, because that little thing will have evened out. We're back. All right. All right, so streams will be up in a sec. We just had some minor technical difficulties with the internet. So
Yeah,
all right,
the runners are still going. The race is still on.
the show must go on.
Bear with
So
us.
looks like we have both these guys in. Are they in sync?
No,
Or are
it
they
was
on
just
different
doubled
screens?
for JCog.
Okay.
All
Well,
right, they're nearly in sync with each other, though. ch0msky got the seed, I assume, from that other flower person. JCog has a slight lead.
yeah, the slight lead we expected from JCog since there was that difference with the seed. But both going through Forever Forest now. Pretty close, honestly. But we will see what happens getting around these encounters. And ch0msky only about half a screen behind here. They're both entering the mansion entrance. Yes, the race is glitchless, but the stream might not be glitchless. All right, definitely a very close race here for these guys. Headed into the mansion, which has a little bit of RNG. Kind of explain there are some mini games they have to play, and they may not go so well for one of the runners. Going to be playing this game here. ch0msky will go for a spin cancel off the banister there, and going to be playing this mini game to get the record. And they need the record for another mini game. But so this boo is going to drop this record in a random spot, and how long before he drops it and where he drops it is random. So hopefully a quick drop here for one of the runners.
Don't get dizzy while watching this.
I think, is ch0msky ahead?
No. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
that might have actually given. That definitely gave ch0msky some time.
That was crazy. That was really bad for JCog. A really slow record mini game, and ch0msky will take that. Although JCog is a little bit ahead getting to the door there, so near sync right now for both these runners. Gonna play the record game though. Has been known to troll a couple runners in the past.
This is also RNG based.
Yeah, this boo.
Ooh, JCog getting a much better pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, so ch0msky losing a little bit of time there on playing the record. Still very close, though, here in the middle of Chapter 3. Yeah, very close. We kind of expected this, though, from these two runners. They are extremely close in terms of their skill in this category. Yeah, very good RNG for JCog on playing the record, not so good on getting it. But he still will maintain about a second lead over ch0msky, second or two.
The opposite was true for ch0msky. He got a fast record, but a slow record minigame. Or record player minigame. So, I would want to say that they came out even, roughly.
Yeah, probably evened out to what we were seeing before they entered the mansion, and now playing the second boo tossing minigame, or the boo ring minigame, and we'll see how this goes for these guys. Still tossing. JCog, ch0msky losing a little bit more time there. I think it's a little slower than JCog's pattern. Not great for either of them though. I would say so, Lopez. Just because you can get to any of the boos quicker. All right, so ch0msky, yeah, a couple seconds difference here still, and they'll pick up the portrait of the Boo and bring it to its rightful spot so they can get Bo, who is our 5th partner.
Is the name of this mansion Boo's Mansion or Bo's Mansion?
I think. Let me just ask my friend Google real.
Because I'm actually not sure myself. I always forget.
It is apparently named Boo's Mansion, so.
Boo's Mansion and not Bo's Mansion?
Correct.
That's weird, because, like, I think Lady Bo owns the place.
Yeah, true. Boo could be the family name, who knows?
Yeah.
You know.
It could be her last name. Bo, or wait, yeah, Bo Boo. That's a little weird.
Interesting name, yeah.
So yeah, something interesting about this is Bo actually has the card. Tubba does not. But Bo is like, she won't give it to you unless you defeat Tubba, because Tubba is terrorizing, like, the Gusty Gulch.
Yeah, so not even a 2 seconds difference for these runners. Extremely close here, entering Gusty Gulch. So hopefully we see that it's kind of close race for the rest of our time here.
Oh, I looked at a post earlier today, actually. The windmill of the previous screen, like, the windmill is not attached to the building. Pretty weird.
Huh?
Maybe I should, like, post the image of it.
Sounds interesting, but I don't know I don't know what's going on. Anyway, both meeting Tubba Blubba. Not really meeting him, but seeing Tubba Blubba right now, eating Stanley. So rip Stanley.
Alright, here's what I'm talking about. Basically, the windmill's not attached to the building. It's kind of weird.
Oh, well, links get deleted anyway, so. I don't know if I can post the link, Milo, if that's good with you. Just send it to me, Glower.
Is my link dead?
Yeah, it doesn't show up for anyone else.
Alright.
Alright, hopefully that shows up. Interesting. So interesting how some of the stuff was made in this game. Both getting first struck here, not actually a mistake. Both intentionally getting this encounter to bring themselves down to 2 or 1 HP. They didn't have to block that attack, but I think it's faster for animation reasons, so. Yes, immersion ruined, now that I know the windmill is not attached.
Both runners pretty much tied at this point.
Oh wow, yeah. Near sync right now. JCog, a fraction of a second ahead here, so extremely close. And really good to see this. This is pretty hype right now.
I want to say that this has so far been the closest race to the entire tournament.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So hopefully it continues on this trend for another couple hours before we see a winner.
Or they could just tie. That's cool too.
Yeah, if they could tie to the frame, that would be nice too.
that proving that ch0msky's spin cancel is not worth it.
Yeah, the side by side.
A quarter second.
This spin cancel, on the other hand, is worth it to get around that guard there. And now they're synced again. They're going into the spike room. JCog's ahead, but it's only a few frames, so this is incredibly
crazy.
Yeah, I expected it to be close, but you know, within like 15 seconds, close is more.
They're
more normal.
Actually tied to the frame. Wow.
A little movement flub for ch0msky. Extremely good gameplay here from both runners. Ooh, ch0msky alerting the guard. Unfortunate. We were supposed to sneak around him like JCog did there, so JCog will gain that little lead there, but maybe not for long if ch0msky has anything to say about it. Yeah, this game is. There's not like, you know, it's not. I would just say this kind of difference is very unexpected. This is really crazy to see this an hour and 20 minutes into this game and still have it be so close. I mean, like, they're a second or two now. Still, and they have been for probably like 20 minutes now. It's been very close. Yeah, not even 2 seconds, so we'll see how this goes for them. JCog maybe ahead by the end of Chapter 3, but still some movement to go, as well as a couple fights. So we'll see what happens.
There's a really risky strat that you can do, where you get Peril on top of Lubba instead of the Clubba, and it actually saves like 6 seconds, which is pretty significant. But it's very risky because Tubba's attacks are random, so he can kill you. And when you run away from Tubba, the bar is like so low that you cannot mash it to 100%. So it's like a gigantic gamble for 6 seconds, and it's probably not worth going for in RTA.
JCog getting the swag jump there at the door. ch0msky not getting that. ch0msky is playing a little bit worse here. His movement is not as clean as we're used to seeing here. Could be nerfs, who knows if he's watching. He certainly knows how close it is, so JCog will take a decent lead here, a couple seconds, 3 seconds maybe, just out of his movement since the Mega Rush, since they grabbed Mega Rush, and but definitely not. ch0msky is very consistent, so I'm sure he will bring his movement back, and we'll see if they get text skip. So JCog not getting textless, ch0msky not either. So no time save for either runner. Yes, so they are both expecting sub 350 for this run, for sure. Unless something major happens. Oh, JCog choosing to save here.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. This is an uncommon save point, I would say. There are a few save points that are normal for runners to take in these races, but that is not one of them. So unless ch0msky dies or something. Ooh, nice spin there. And ch0msky playing a couple of those rooms very riskily, but JCog going for some safe strats. Both doing their equips here, Power Bounce and Mega Rush. This is the first time we'll be seeing Peril as well as Power Bounce strats.
Yeah, I'm wondering why JCog saved there, because this fight you cannot die to unless you miss Power Bouncing. And same with Tubba. And then after both of them are dead, you just save after collecting the card. ch0msky dropping a bounce at 5. He should have gone to 6, but he missed it.
He can do another 5 bounce, and it'll be fast. Hopefully he doesn't get 4 capped. Okay, so he'll get the double 5. JCog also getting 2 5 caps, I think.
Yep.
So pretty much the same fight for both of them, and they'll be on their way out of the windmill. Very interesting choice for JCog to save before this fight.
Yeah, I almost want to say he just threw away some time by doing that, because this is like... There's nothing too complicated about
Fairly
this
safe fight, yeah. I'm not sure if he was uncomfortable with power bounces for some reason today, but jumping in front of the door a lot there too. But something going on, or the level up maybe doesn't want to level up the wrong thing. But it might just be faster to roll with the FP level up if he makes a mistake. Anyway, Tubba down pretty quickly, and ch0msky will take the lead due to that save from JCog. So, yeah, very interesting choice by JCog, and did not pay off. Kind of questionable, I want to say, but still very close. He didn't throw away that much time. And, yeah, so ch0msky, I believe ch0msky's going to do equips after the Peach cutscene coming up, and JCog will probably do them before, so we'll see another...
Faster to do it before, because then you have more frames of speedy spinning, but ch0msky prefers not to, because, yeah, I mean,
just
I guess it's easier to do it after.
Yeah, so ch0msky not doing the equips there. We'll see JCog probably do them right here, and he does.
JCog not spinning on the ground. Anyway, if you get a 5 and a 5 like both of these runners did on the heart, it's equivalent to 6 and 4 cap. And how those two compare to the 4 and 3 is it's a second faster, I think.
Yeah, a second faster.
It should be retimed, but it also depends on shell shot RNG. Because, like in TAS, for example, you can just flick the shell shot and it's instantaneous, pretty much. But in RTA, that won't always happen, so...
Alright, so this next Peach cutscene is also not the most interesting. Answering some questions for Bowser, which will determine what happens in Chapter 4. They will both be answering 3, 3, and then 1, which will give them the right items for Chapter 4. Still kind of reeling at how close this race is right now. I mean, probably only 3 seconds of difference. After ch0msky does his equips, we'll have a better idea.
I'm wondering if ch0msky is going to decide to save this run or not. I know when he raced me, he didn't save, I think.
Yeah, good question.
But now that he has the lead, he might treat things differently.
Yeah, if he knows that he does have the lead. Ooh, ch0msky has a bigger lead than I guess I thought.
Yeah, that save cost JCog at least 5 seconds, I want to say.
Yeah, and then ch0msky's now ahead by 6 seconds, so 5 seconds for the save-ish makes sense. ch0msky did play a little faster than JCog for the rest of the segment, so. Now on to the Junior Troopa fight. This is where that Thunder Rage will come in handy, and they just need to get a 5 bounce. I think it's impossible to get 4 capped. and then the rest is just doing some extra damage. It will block 1 out of the 2 attacks that he'll do to manipulate their health to get into peril. A minor optimization here. ch0msky and JCog are both going to switch to Bow here in the forest. It is a little faster to switch to her in the forest as opposed to Toad Town, just because Toad Town is so laggy. So to reduce lag, they will do that in the forest. And the menus do cause a lot of lag. The partner and item menus cause a lot of lag. ch0msky with those clean spin cancels on the ledges there. JCog also flubbing them a little bit, but clean movement from ch0msky, and it looks like we're seeing, pretty good movement from both these runners, which is, part of why they are both really close right now. And onward to Chapter 4 in the Shy Guy's toy box. Alright, so guessing neither runner is going to pick up that mushroom there. It would be safer to, because of an encounter that'll come up in a little bit. We'll talk about that when it gets there. But assuming neither of them will choose to get and eat this mushroom, because there is a lure for that encounter that makes it 100% consistent to get around. But running some errands first. A big part of this chapter is getting stuff from inside the toy box, and which the Shy Guys have stolen, and returning it to people in Toad Town. For example, the storeroom key can be used to open this back room and get the toy train. Putting the toy train into the toy box so they can get around the different stations, and they will return shortly. And then we'll see that encounter that we were talking about. There is a Sky Guy, a flying Shy Guy, who, if left to his own devices, will have a RNG chance, I guess, to first strike our runners, and since they're in peril, that would kill them and they would lose a life shroom, which they don't really want to do right now. So there's a lure, and we'll see both of them presumably go for it and probably get it. Hopefully, ch0msky messed that up. That is not going to be good.
He went too quickly.
Yeah, he did go too quickly.
He's also not going to the right as he should be. You're supposed to just go to the right as soon as you land. Because if you go at an angle, the Shy Guy spawns slower.
Yeah, so gonna be dicey for ch0msky here. And JCog should have no problem getting by that encounter, but it would be a major time loss for ch0msky, and he will lose the safety of his life stream if that encounter does happen. Oh, okay, and he skates by. The Sky Guy did not notice him quickly enough, and he's probably wiping some sweat off his brow right now. JCog did, in fact, get the lure, so there was no issue with that for him. And they're off to return that frying pan to Taste T, who is, I guess, the chef of Toad Town. They also picked up a badge called Ice Power, which they'll use in Chapter 5 on some fire enemies. Well, one fire enemy. Gonna get the cake from Tasty and give it to Gourmet Guy, who is everyone's favorite Shy Guy, down in the toy box at Pink Station. And that will let them progress with the story. So ch0msky very clean right now, not making any real movement mistakes of note. And JCog pretty much playing very cleanly as well, but again, a couple of things, including that save that made him lose a good amount of time. But ch0msky still gaining time in addition to that, so yeah. ch0msky getting that clean spin cancel there. JCog will probably also go for this on the bottom, though. About a 6 or so second difference between the two of them right now. So very close, and a couple of cycles that could maybe give JCog some help here. Getting past that Pyro Guy with a little adjustment. It's ch0msky. JCog also getting by. Looked a little closer there for JCog.
Yeah. Better spin cancel by JCog there.
So an opportunity to make up some time for JCog here, and especially coming up at Red Station. In the meantime, they'll visit the Green Station, which is not too much going on there. They're gonna do a puzzle to get to Red Station. So Red Station has the two bosses of this chapter. There's the Lantern Ghost, which is an infamous fight in this tournament. And there's the General Guy fight, who's the final boss of the chapter. So everything's kind of going on at Red Station, and there's also one of the hardest rooms in the game at Red Station, in my opinion, and ch0msky's as well. He said that before. So we'll see how it goes. Basically, there's a lot that has to go on. Their movement has to be pretty clean in order to make a couple cycles, and they also need to get the right RNG for the starting point of those cycles. So we'll point that out right here, coming up. Yeah, it does not look like ch0msky's going to save. JCog may opt to. And he does. So losing even more time, and ch0msky is going to go for this movement here to get on this platform. Not quite. So that platform, that's what we call the quick cycle. He didn't quite make it, but getting the normal cycle there. JCog also getting the normal cycle. So no time loss there. Except from potentially worse RNG for ch0msky, I'm not sure. And Gonna use a Volt Shroom on this Lantern Ghost fight and get into peril. After getting into peril, they're going to be doing 2 power bounces. In order to win the fight optimally, they need a 5 bounce and a 4 bounce. Or a 4 and then a 5. So here's the first bounce from ch0msky. If he gets the 5, he has nothing to worry about, since the minimum cap on this fight is a 4. Alright, and he does get a 5 bounce here. JCog going for it as well. Alright, getting a 5 bounce. JCog in his semi-final race did get double 4 capped. If you get double 4 capped, you lose a life shroom and the fight takes a lot longer. So that was probably 20 plus seconds lost for JCog in his semi-final race, but nothing to worry about in this bronze match today. And getting the 6th partner, Watt, who is going to be upgraded in a second. Watt has a pretty good normal ability, Electro Dash, which bypasses enemy defense. So very good. And also going to upgrade her to get the get an extra attack power. The extra attack that she gets from Super Rank is not very useful in this speed run. There was another cycle, a very quick cycle called God Cycle that they could have gotten in that room on the way back, but neither of them got that. I actually wasn't watching JCog, but I don't think he got it. Did JCog get God Cycle?
I don't know. I don't think he did, but
I feel like he did. He's only 5 seconds behind, and he even took that save, so he gained like 4 seconds over. Yeah, okay, he did get God Cycle according to Headless. You know, silly commentators not watching. I was watching ch0msky, sorry.
Oh, JCog did get God Cycle. I just went back and watched the VOD. He did make it. That's a really rare cycle to make. It is the easiest to make in Glitchless because there's less menuing to upgrade Watt. But still a hard cycle to make.
Yeah, it's very hard. So JCog keeping it really close with that God Cycle, even though he took that save. So it's about a 5-second difference right now for the runners, and they're on to the general guy fight, which is pretty basic. However, it does have another bit of RNG, so just adding to the RNG of Chapter 4. And they'll deal with these Shy Guys and the Shy Guy stacks as well. And then when it's just General Guy in his tank, in his cart, whatever it may be, he's going to throw out 2 attacks in this fight, hopefully only 2. And he has a 60% chance, I believe, to throw out a lightning attack, and then a 40% chance to do a bomb attack. And bomb attack is 3 seconds faster than the lightning, so getting double lightning is 6 seconds slower than double bomb. So I mean, JCog could pull ahead if the RNG goes in his favor, or at least tie the race, basically. So using Repel Gel to dodge the attacks. We're not actually going to get hit by the attacks, but we'll see what he throws out. And a Lightning for ch0msky, so... and a Lightning for JCog, so not making up all the time he wanted. But if he can get 1 bomb, at least, he will make up a pretty good chunk of his deficit right now. Chomsky got double lightning, and so did JCog, so both getting that 36% chance for double lightning. So no time save or loss for either runner, but still within about 5 to 6 seconds, I believe, for each of these runners. We'll time it again on getting a card, but very, very close race. Just to reiterate, an hour and 43 minutes into this run, which is pretty unexpected. I mean, we knew these guys were very close in skill, but post Chapter 4 to still be within 5 seconds is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think they're within 3 seconds of each other at the moment. And also, right there, you could actually move for a frame as the as the card is spawning. I think you can actually see JCog slightly closer to the card than ch0msky is. I could be mistaken on that, though.
Yeah, within, I think, less than 3 seconds difference right now. So, extremely, extremely close race for these guys. Like, absurdly close. Just really unexpected. And hopefully it can continue. There are a few more big RNG elements left, but you know, I mean, hopefully they can both keep it close, and we'll keep an eye on their movement and stuff like that. See who is gaining some time. And first they're going to have to do this Peach cutscene, the infamous Cake Peach cutscene. I'm going to assume if you use a glitch in Glitchless that your time is invalid, typically. That's my guess. Regardless of if it worsens your time. Okay, Shy. Well, to me, Cake is kind of cool. It's not the worst part of the game for sure, and definitely casually, it's actually like a fun part casually, I thought. But yeah, for sure, it can be a drag like all the other Peach cutscenes in a speed run. But they have it down, so probably not going to lose too much time here. Either one of the runners.
The hitbox for the bowl is actually pretty large. So, like for example, if you're getting the eggs, you can actually just hold straight down and it would still put it in the bowl even though you're not facing the bowl or close to the bowl. Like look how far away JCog just placed that in from.
And into the oven it will go for a minimum of 24 seconds, a maximum of 36. They're obviously going to go for 24, the minimum time. And ch0msky, I believe, uses a stopwatch. Some people use a stopwatch. JCog, I think, looks at his timer and calculates the time to take it out. So a few different methods there.
I personally use a stopwatch. I just pull up my phone and I start the timer as soon as the door closes, and then right when it hits 24, that's when I press A again. And it seems to work.
Yeah, so a lot of different methods. Stopwatch seems a little more precise. You can get it more precise than just doing the mental math in your head.
Yep. How are they neck and neck?
Just they're both
Good question.
really close in skill and just playing really well. So
Also, during
Yeah.
that cutscene, you can move for a frame as well. I think it saves a frame. I'm glad that gourmet guy put down his, like, fork and knife before he started running all over the place. That would have been potentially dangerous.
Yeah, so this is a this is kind of a long cutscene. If you have a clamp, you can enter the door from the kitchen and just clamp it. Take a bathroom break here, but they are ready to go after they get this Star Spirit ability and talk to Twink a little bit. And then they are going to come up on another boss fight, which is the Fuzzipede fight. And there is a trick to encounter Fuzzipede like 3 seconds faster than normal. So we'll see if either one of them gets it. That would be pretty major. As you can tell, the lead is only about 3 seconds. So that would be a big opportunity for one of these runners. Ooh, a nice movement from ch0msky there. I don't know if that was faster, but it was pretty sick.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It would have to be timed with the other strat.
Alright, so they're going to enter the whale and see if they can get this early Fuzzipede encounter. Oh, and JCog
pulls
is
ahead
now
because
in
of
the
this.
lead.
Wow.
Incredible. So, yeah, really big break for JCog there, getting that early Fuzzipede encounter. I know ch0msky has not been the greatest with that so far. It is a very difficult trick, just because of the precision it requires. But yeah, saving about 3 seconds. So, as you can see, the lead was just under 3 seconds. So they are extremely, extremely close now.
I think it's only a 1 second, not even a 1 second difference now. Yeah, it's only about a half second, I believe. This is crazy.
So all ready to board the whale for Chapter 5. We'll see if they get this water spout. JCog with a quick spout. ch0msky waited a little while, but both getting it, so. Alright, so now on Lava Lava Island. And starting Chapter 5, which is I think a favorite for a lot of people casually, or one of their favorites. But gonna start by picking up this beach repel gel here and then just completely ignoring Colorado's cries for help. And yeah, so this is a pretty treacherous area for speedrunners. It has a lot of encounter potential, so if we see both of these guys going counterless, that is really, really good. because that is not the easiest thing. ch0msky saving time with that movement there. It's a little strange for JCog. And they are basically synced to the frame. Yeah, they're synced to the frame right now, so just absolutely incredible.
In all my years of seeing this game being played, I don't think I've seen a race this close ever. This is really quite something, guys.
Yeah, this is pretty ridiculous. I was talking to ch0msky, and he said his one goal for this tournament was to have a insanely close race. So he is indeed accomplishing that right now.
Alright, this spear guy in the middle island here is slightly RNG based. He can do a dancing move and just be immobilized for a few seconds.
Oh, and ch0msky taking that encounter. So gonna lose about 10 seconds to that. And JCog will pull it. That's probably like the biggest lead anyone's had so far in this race, which is kind of ridiculous. So it's gonna be 10 seconds. I don't know. Time it on starting the ambush fight.
I believe if you talk to the ambush either too far to the left or to the right of the bush, you can soft lock here. Both runners talking to it from the middle, so that's prevented.
Yep. And about 13 seconds of difference, and yeah, I do think that is the biggest lead someone has had, and it is 2 hours in. So, I mean, hopefully, ch0msky can do a lot to bring this back. I mean, for sure. It is only 13 seconds, and we do have a couple more hours to play with. So, but yeah, just goes to show how insanely close this race has been. And no, I don't actually think either of these runners are watching the stream. I could be wrong, but I think both of them are kind of to themselves. JCog took a little bit of time with the Shy Guy dancing there. ch0msky might get a better cycle here. Let's see. Yeah, so ch0msky is going to get that quicker Shy Guy. Hopefully he can get this lure correct. No! Oh, no, ch0msky getting a second encounter in the jungle, so yeah, just even more time loss on top of that. Like I was saying, very treacherous area for speedruns, and these spear guys are the reason why. There's way too much potential to get encountered in the jungle. Luckily, neither runner has gotten first struck so far. That would be very bad because they are in peril.
Yeah, I would say that Chapter 5 is the area where you either like lose a lot of time because of RNG or because of an encounter. Like, this is the earliest area that's like pretty difficult to not lose time on.
Yeah, it's about it's like 6 minutes or something. It's at least 5 minutes of just going through this jungle with a lot of enemies and a lot of narrow paths, like the room JCog just went through. So it is definitely very difficult, probably one of the hardest areas, extended areas in the game. ch0msky gonna lure this. Ooh, that was really close. ch0msky luring him off the bridge though, getting by, and shouldn't have too much trouble with the fuzzy. And gonna go into this piranha fight, and what you'll see ch0msky do is first strike it with Bombette. JCog did that as well. Butter did get encountered by the pipe Shy Guy, yeah.
I think of all of the enemies in the run, that pipe shot guy is probably the most common for a top runner to get encountered by, because it feels like pseudo RNG sometimes. Like, you do the lure, you go to the left. Sometimes he'll come at you, sometimes he won't. It's really weird.
Yeah, the allure seems to be consistent, but it's a fickle lure. Like, it's not exactly RNG, but there are a lot of ways to mess it up and have slightly wrong positioning of Mario and the Shy Guy. So, yeah, definitely one of the harder areas in the game. JCog not getting that spin cancel, which normally happens.
Whoa.
Yeah, ch0msky was just mentioning yesterday, in fact, that he seems to always get that turnaround during his spin, and when he goes to hammer the log, it just kind of hammers to the left. Hopefully ch0msky can make up a little bit of time in the volcano. There is a lot of time to make up in the volcano. He's going to look to, you know, keep his movement consistent and clean, and honestly, probably going to make up a fair bit of time from movement. He has been doing that. Like in Chapter 4, he was gaining a fair bit of time just from movement. So hopefully for him, he can start to do that more. And JCog's going to go into the deep jungle with the lead. A probably 25-ish second lead. But the volcano does have a lot of variance. And especially the final boss could make up a good chunk of that time for ch0msky. There is also an early cycle in the volcano that I expect both of them will get, but if they do happen to mess it up, it would waste 15 seconds.
This spear guy is like somewhat RNG based. ch0msky got really lucky there that he did encounter. Hopefully JCog knows to use Power Bomb and not Air Raid here.
Hopefully. We'll find out. Well, he does, it looks like.
After this fight, if they had gotten a Fracture or Fail, they would have leveled up. Also, after this fight, there's a Fire Flower that can spawn in the way. JCog does not get it.
Yeah, they can actually drop multiple Fire Flowers, and you try and spin into the loading zone, but if you happen to spin into an item, before the item pickup animation, you have to wait for the entire duration of the spin to run out, so definitely do not want to get an item drop there, since it is unnecessary, and neither runner getting one. Alright, so after these extended Raven cutscenes, we will get into the volcano. And the volcano is not consistently hard, but there are a couple time losses to be had for sure, especially on the final boss. So we will see what kind of RNG they get on the boss fight. And we have reached the 2-hour mark as well, so past the halfway point, and we'll be finishing up Chapter 5 and then 3 more chapters to go. Right now, JCog is ahead. ch0msky had some unfortunate troubles in the jungle. It was basically tied to the frame starting the jungle, or starting Chapter 5, but now we'll time it on entering the volcano, I guess, but About 25 seconds if I had to estimate something. About to receive the Ultra Stone from the Raven, Raphael the Raven. Will allow them to upgrade their partners to Ultra rank using an upgrade block. And that will be especially helpful for Paracarry and another partner we'll get later. That was extremely close from JCog. Almost fell in the lava there, but getting the quick cycle. ch0msky will go for it in a second here. And ch0msky does, in fact, make the quick cycle, so no problem. Yeah, so 22 seconds it looks like. So ch0msky probably looking to save a fair bit of that for movement, which he can definitely do. And we'll also see how the boss fight goes, because it could go differently depending on the RNG they get. JCog is going to do a little spin off this ledge here. Not sure if ch0msky's going to go for it, since he doesn't normally do it. Yeah, just kind of inches his way over there to fall down. And continuing on with the volcano, getting the Ultra Hammer. JCog is going to hit this Ultra block. You know, I don't know if that's what they're called, Ultra blocks, because then we would call the silver ones Super blocks, but the Super blocks are the upgrade blocks. Unless they're actually called upgrade blocks. I'd have to look that up. Interesting dilemma. So upgrading Paracarry, very useful to get that one extra attack. And Paracarry's fourth move, Air Raid, which attacks all enemies on the screen.
The official name of the block is a super block.
Yeah, interesting. Even though you can ultra rank partners eventually. It's kind of strange. Anyway, JCog did his equips there, put on Ice Power. Oh, metal blocks and stone blocks. That would make sense, I suppose. ch0msky also doing the equip right there. JCog using these fire bars and the iframes they give him to get by that those encounters. I'm not sure how he did that respawn with the lava. I don't know how that works. Usually if you fall in the lava, it'll send you back to a different point on this platform, but something a little different happened. Anyway, JCog pushing this block all the way. Very riveting gameplay. Just to get further in the volcano. 27 pushes, yes. Takes about 30 seconds.
You push it 26 times, and then you would have to jump like double the distance. But I think the jump may be frame perfect, so no one really does it.
Yeah. I'm trying to get this cutscene overlap here Doesn't get it. You can jump into the heart block and overlap the heart block cutscene with Colorado talking, which is optimal. See if ch0msky gets it. JCog may save. No, he's not going to save. Even though he did take a few.
I think it's interesting that JCog
saved before the heart, but not
before Lava Piranha.
True. Very interesting. I have to ask him about that. ch0msky also not getting the cutscene overlap. It is fairly difficult. But yeah, JCog going to start the Lava Piranha fight here, and neither of them saving. They do have 2 life streams, so they just have to block one of Lava Piranha's attacks. And hopefully they block the first one so they don't have to worry about it anymore. Oh, Headness, good point. Headness pointing out that the iframes need the lava not do a normal hazard respawn. I saw ch0msky get something like that in Chapter 6 yesterday. Hello, Troy. Welcome to the riveting Paper Mario race right now. Incredibly close. They were only 10 minutes ago, they were tied to the frame. So, yeah, this is very interesting right now. And that's phase 1 of Lava Piranha done for JCog. Phase 2, we'll see what kind of RNG he gets. There is 15 seconds, I think, the 6 cap saves. So he's going to want to do 6 power bounces. Hopefully he gets that RNG. We'll see. And only a 4 cap. So ch0msky, the opportunity to make up a lot of time if the 35% chance for a 6 cap goes his way. So not getting the 6 cap. I didn't see whether he got a 4 or 5, but switching to Bombette in either case, and they're going to level up BP here, so ch0msky will just have to do the finishing blow, and still really close. Ending Chapter 6. This is quite the race. He did get 5 caps, okay, so just having to do a jump there. And it's looking to be like a 20-second difference, which is really, really close for this far into a Glitchless run. A 26 card pickup for JCog. And still a 210 Chapter 5 for both these runners. Very good time. So still about 25 seconds, it looks like, between the two of them. And, well, we'll see what happens. Because 25 seconds on the next split is pretty easy to come by. There is an RNG element. We're going to be using another Fright Jar. And we'll see how that goes for both of the runners. JCog and ch0msky both trying to escape the volcano right now. And switched to Bombette in the fight. It was a little faster than switching outside of the fight. See how their movement up these stairs goes. There's a slower strat by about 0.5 seconds, but doesn't require good movement up the stairs, so more consistent, but it is about half a second slower by just falling in the lava after landing on the first step. So we'll head into the next Peach cutscene, and this is the quiz. So really not much going on. Basically an auto-scroller once they get into the quiz minigame. So we will have another chance to see who can make up some time. Can JCog extend his lead, or can ch0msky make up some of the deficit. Heading into Chapter 6, Flower Fields. There's definitely a lot of time to be lost and saved in Chapter 6. So, yeah, hopefully maybe we'll see ch0msky close this gap and make this race really close once again. I mean, it is still really close. 25 seconds is not a lot at this point in the game. But considering they were just tied to the frame not 20 minutes ago, you know, we'll see what can happen. I don't know if anyone really knows the correct answers for these questions. But if you're playing along at home, you're going to want to answer 1 for the first 9 and then 2 for the 10. Alright, JCog finished with the quiz. And so right now, JCog is ahead by about 25 seconds. Gonna see what ch0msky can do to lessen the deficit. And Chapter 6 definitely has a lot of time saved for ch0msky, depending on how things go for JCog. It is a pretty difficult chapter to get consistently fast. So we'll see what happens. This is very close right now. 25 seconds at this point in the game is not that much, so JCog trying to hang on to his lead here, and he'll hope for good Fright Jar RNG in Chapter 6. ch0msky just wants to make up some time, so anything he can get in Chapter 6 that is slightly better than what JCog can get is really good. JCog forgetting this jelly right now, messing up his equips, a little lost. So unless he got it already, he might have just missed that jam and jelly, which would be bad. I don't know if JCog usually gets it on the way there, but we'll see. We'll see if he gets to moles and does not have a jam and jelly. Yeah, I'm not sure if JCog normally picks it up earlier, sorry. I didn't really see that happen.
I'm gonna go back and look.
Alright, that would be... Man, I don't even know what he would do. That's really big for ch0msky if JCog did indeed forget that jam and jelly. Also, JCog did get a little lost on his equips, so would be losing time anyhow.
Yeah,
so
JCog has completely forgotten the jam and jelly. So
okay, so
get a bunch of stinky herbs, or yeah, I think that's his only option.
He'll just need to get several stinky herbs then. Huge time loss. ch0msky is probably going to take the lead then very early into Chapter 6. So probably the first big mistake of the run for either runner. ch0msky has had a few encounters. In fact, I think JCog is encounterless so far, from what I recall. But still very close, and we'll see how this plays out for JCog. He may... I'm not sure if he realizes it yet. He may get there and realize that he doesn't have a jelly. Yeah, the stinky herbs will respawn, so he can get a stinky herb and basically farm it. He may want to do that. Yeah, he'll want to do that in the room before moles. Just get it, exit, get it. I don't know how many he needs, though. Probably enough to fill up his FP. Yeah, he may need a lot. He'll probably need 4? At least 3. And so we'll see how long that takes, but he may lose his entire lead from that, and potentially more. What I think ch0msky's going to do right now is untime this first power jump on Junior. And that saves a little bit of time, some frames, because Junior Troopa's text box comes up a little faster. Yeah, so the text box comes up a little faster there for ch0msky. The odds on seeing a headnisk jump TM, also known as spike jump, whatever you want to call it, is probably close to 0. Got some ch0msky fans in the chat, some JCog fans as well.
Alright, I looked at the route, I looked ahead. I believe the only backup JCog can do is... Actually, wait, could he take a rest? He could either maybe take a rest and lose peril, or he can eat 4 stinky herbs. Looks like he's doing 4 stinky herbs.
And if he did lose peril, he could take 3 hits from the moles regardless. Just skip a turn of doing damage. But I'm not sure the Toad House would even be faster, since the sticky herbs are on the way, but he's gonna have to get like 4 of them. And if he hasn't realized about the jam and jelly yet, then he will have to go back for them when he doesn't have it. We'll see. And he does know, so he's gonna get the 1, I guess. Maybe he'll go back for more.
He doesn't need him until... Maybe he's going to do a Starstorm. I don't know what he's going to do. Maybe Refresh.
Refresh was what I was thinking. Although, yeah, Starstorm's a good idea.
But he needs star points, or star power for the maze fight. So he only has 3 star power available to him.
He only needs one Starstorm for... Okay, 1 Freight Jar fail there. Trying to explain a lot of things at once. He's going to kill this mole here. So he only needs 1 Starstorm on Maze Fight. So he does have a Starstorm to spare here, but I don't know if he has the FP. He may. No, because he has to airlift this mole. So...
Getting the same exact mole. Fails.
Yep.
JCog did.
We will see what happens, I suppose.
Alright, he has 7 FP. Stinky Herb's going to put him at 12. He's
doesn't quite have enough.
Another one.
He needs
he can afford 1 Starstorm. So maybe getting a second Stinky Herb.
Right. Okay, 1 Starstorm here. He's gonna air raid. Presumably. Yeah, and we'll see what the time difference is like for the runners here. ch0msky's gonna make up all of his time pretty much here. This race just keeps getting more interesting.
Oh, I'm forgetting about the level up. He's gonna do a double Starstorm. That makes a lot more sense.
That's true. Yep, double Starstorm will work. He's gonna air raid first.
Alright, yeah, the damage is not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, ch0msky will be ahead here just by a little bit, but very close now. He's going to get this fight over with just a little bit sooner. Probably about 5 seconds. And we're back to a really close race. Through that mistake from JCog. Backed it up really well, though. Did not lose nearly as much time as we were thinking. Very true. Starstorm, I guess the death animations will overlap with Starstorm. I thought they happened after, but...
Yeah, it's usually faster to kill enemies with the slowest attack. Or if the attack has a long hand animation like Starstorm. I've got comparison videos on this, if anyone cares.
Interesting. So going through the death room now, very close race. In fact, only a few seconds. Maybe only about... Yeah, it's about 2 seconds now, so back to a really close race. This is kind of what we wanted to see, so... unfortunate mistake for JCog, but yeah, evening out those encounters from ch0msky, so back to a really good race, really solid, close race. And, of course, neither of them going for that spike jump there. Frame-perfect jump over the spikes.
Tetanus crying.
Definitely. Alright, so gonna get out of here. ch0msky, some interesting movement here. I figured it would be faster to go sort of a down right or down left angle off that ledge, but opting for some more 45-degree angle stuff, I guess, to say the least, or to, for lack of a better word. Yeah, about a second difference here, so really crazy. JCog's making up a little bit of time and movement, it looks like. So we'll see what can happen. Like we said, Chapter 6, very volatile. Yeah, unreal race. Like, genuinely. Did not really expect to see a race this close so far in. Hopefully, you can carry this kind of competition to the very end, and we'll see who comes out on top for the 3rd place trophy. Definitely a scripted race here, working out as planned. Yeah, so the maze fight normally has a little optimization with killing with Starstorm. You kill with air, or you hit air raid first, but it's kind of for a different reason. If you Starstorm first, the Spinies will die, I believe, and so you want to kill all of the enemies at the same time so that their death animations overlap. Not necessarily that the death animations overlap with Starstorm, although that is also a time saver. Based Cat thinks that the script has ch0msky winning here, but we'll see what happens. A lot still to play. And less than a second ahead, it looks like JCog is gaining some time here just from movement. Yeah, about a second. So we will see what goes on here. No problem, Nightingale. It is actually just incredibly exciting to watch what's going on. For a Paper Mario race, we are really not used to seeing such a close race, especially this far in. Oh, JCog taking a little bit of time to get that movement right and doesn't end up getting around the cloud, so taking encounter again, that room, probably one of the hardest in the games, or in the game. And he's going to get out of there, but not before taking an encounter. So that's about a 10-second loss, 12-second loss. ch0msky's going to pull to probably about a 15-second lead. So more comfortable now for ch0msky. He has some time to work with. Yeah, that was definitely some commentator's curse going on. Right as we were talking about how good this race has been. So that was actually JCog's first encounter. ch0msky has had a few. And, but flubbing his movement a little there. He doesn't want to keep messing up his movement. JCog has been making up some time from his movement in Chapter 6. Except, of course, for that encounter. No, this is just a joke. I am not a first-time commentator. Oh my goodness! Wow, did you see that? JCog just spun off and jumped at like a really late point. I don't think people usually do that. So we'll time the difference here.
I usually go for that because if you fall on the spikes, it doesn't really matter too much.
Right,
Glitchless. You
glitchless.
need to fall on once anyways.
Right. Only looking like a 10-second difference for these runners, so without that encounter would be basically even. JCog might have the lead. So pretty costly, 10-11 seconds. Yes, it's just a joke because I've commentated every race except one. No, just kind of an inside joke. So, grabbing both bubble berries is ch0msky. Very good safety there. We'll see if JCog opts to do the same. I'm hoping he will. Yeah, so both grabbing 2 bubble berries. Only need 1, but the second is a really solid safety to have, just in case.
Did they both get the second bubble berry?
Yeah, they both did.
I definitely think it's a very solid backup, or a very solid safe strat, because you can use it if you get first struck by the bee, or if you fail to block on blooper, or if you get first struck by enemies in the sewers. So there's like 3 applications for it.
Yeah, it's a really great backup and really doesn't waste any time to get, just like 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah,
So very good
like
safety to have.
3 seconds to get it, so...
Alright, ch0msky skates by without that B encounter, so hopefully JCog doesn't get another encounter. This one will be pretty much RNG. Oh, getting by there, really close there, so both not getting that B encounter, which can be really trolly sometimes. ch0msky nearly on the top step there.
I wouldn't be that surprised if JCog
getting top
his
step.
run is really solid.
So JCog getting the top step there on the Sun Tower. And yeah, JCog and ch0msky are both on pretty good paces so far. It's hard to say about PB pace just because there have been a few mistakes, but yeah, both really consistent runners and are both really probably able to PB really soon, I would say. Been really improving lately. And heading into the Lackey fight, there is, and it's a pretty basic fight. There is one element of RNG, which is another power bounce cap. They're going to want to do 5 bounces on Lackluster, and if they get capped at 4, they're going to have to use a shell shot and eat a stinky herb for some extra FP. Yeah, that is accurate, Lopez. He's had 1 encounter and that mistake with the jelly. So otherwise, solid run from JCog. ch0msky has had a few encounters, but overall, again, a really solid run for both of these guys, especially with a race setting, and especially like to keep it close between the two of them.
Yeah, at the moment, both of their PBs are very close to each other. Let me actually look them up.
Yeah, I think 20 seconds about separates their PB.
Yep, 24 seconds is the difference between their PB, and both of the runners are better than their PBs. Like, definitely.
Yeah, they are both really able to get 3:45 any day now. ch0msky's really on the grind for that so far, so. Doing the puzzle now, and we will see what kind of RNG happens on Huff, what kind of movement they both have. I'm expecting ch0msky will maintain this roughly 10-second lead. Falling the spikes. Really unfortunate there. Not huge, but gonna allow JCog to make up probably several seconds there. Yeah, an encounter loses about 10 to 12 seconds, so if you run away, then so yeah, definitely costly in such a close race. I mean, that's basically the difference right now, is less than 12 seconds. So about to start the machine fight, pretty basic fight, and they're gonna level up HP afterward. The only HP upgrade in the run. Yeah, feel free to keep the questions coming. We're all, happy to answer if anyone doesn't know what's going on. So when this screen fades out, I'll time. It's about a 29 for ch0msky. Oh my god, a 33 for Jake. 4 seconds of difference again. So really crazy. This is such a volatile race, and honestly, it's 50-50 who wins this.
Yeah, it really is.
Well, now all the preps complete to head to the final boss fight, and the final boss fight does have a little bit of RNG to it. Not too much, only a couple seconds worth of power bounce caps, except for the 3 cap, and hopefully no one will get a 3 cap in this race. Keep it nice and close. This is by far the closest race in the tournament so far, yeah, and not just like the closest point in the run, but consistently a really close race. For a little bit, there was like a 25-second difference, I think, but most of the run has been a less than 10-second difference, which is absolutely insane for this game and this length of run. Alright, so this is typically the bathroom break point of the run. If you want to go grab water, something like that, use the bathroom. We got about an hour and 15 minutes left for this race, and hopefully it'll be just as close as it is now. So feel free to go grab some water right now during these cutscenes, and we'll prepare for the Huff and Puff fight. Yeah, this race is really neck and neck right now. Very unexpected, but in a way expected, like I was saying at the beginning of the race, both these runners are very good and very close in skill. So, I expected it to be close. I didn't expect it to be this close. This is ridiculous. They are only a few seconds apart, and we're over 2.5 hours in. Yes, I'm serving a minor role as Stay Hydrated bot during this commentary. It's kind of the way it's looking, Kesha. It may come down to the final Bowser fight. ch0msky looking like he flubbed some of those equips, and they are neck and neck again. Or wait, no, they're not. They're just a little bit apart. Sorry, it looked like they were jumping up the same stairs at the same time.
So
but yeah,
the
that's
badge they just got is called Super Jump Charge. It's basically Mega Rush. Like, you could just give yourself 3 every turn. So it's really good.
Yeah, they're going to be charging a lot for this fight. 3 turns of charging and then a power bounce, going for 5, but they'll take a 4 cap. A 3 cap is a 2% chance, I believe, and very bad. You don't want to see one of these runners get that. We'll go for 6 damage on this wind. JCog, very good at blocking wind. So now he doesn't have to block Huff and Puff's stomp attack. ch0msky will have to block it. Oh my god, they're tied to the frame. Okay, ch0msky does get the block, and they are... Wow, this is insanely close.
Wow.
And they both got a 5. Oh my goodness.
This is crazy.
This is unbelievable right now what we're watching. Absolutely ridiculous. Basically the same fight, and they are perfect sync right now, heading out of Chapter 6. Really just unbelievable right now. Don't think we really need to time the card pickup right now. They are separated by a couple of frames at most. I mean, I would say it looks like ch0msky has a little bit of a lead, but you have to realize that the syncing of their streams isn't to the frame perfect, so it's not 100%. It could very well be exactly tied right now. But going into this Peach cutscene, there's a little bit of divergence with the movement, so we'll see who comes out ahead after this. ch0msky is going to go for this risky thing. Okay, and he messes it up at first, and JCog will take a little bit of a lead there, just because ch0msky missed that. If he had gotten that, it would have saved a couple frames. Very interesting that he chose to go for that.
ch0msky falling asleep on the wheel there. At the wheel.
Yeah, we're about an hour and 10 minutes from finishing, so stick around because this race is incredibly close for Paper Mario Glitchless standards.
Yeah,
and it could very well come down to the wire.
I would say he's going to get sub 350. So,
yeah, I would say both of them have an insane, like, both of them are on pace for a 337 or 348. So it's looking like a few seconds difference here. JCog is in the lead by a little bit. Only about 3 seconds, though. And is it faster to go up the left stairs as the clubba, or does it matter?
I don't think it matters. It's just an easier visual, I guess. Going to left.
I always go up the right, so maybe maybe I'm not quite doing it right.
Nah, for that I think it's even, but I could be wrong.
So we're about 3 to 4 seconds difference here. Unbelievable, and we'll see what happens coming up. Alright, apparently it is the same time to go up the left and right of the stairs. So, finishing up this Peach cutscene with about a 3 to 4 second difference. And, so yeah, JCog a slight lead, but extremely close today. And this is what you want to see from a Paper Mario glitchless race right now. Well, Dan, that sounds correct to me. Just holding B for text and learning how to do swag hammers. That's all you need to know. Peach got caught there because Cammy Koopa could smell some perfume. Could smell Peach's perfume on the clubba. Hammering the door there from ch0msky. Classic.
He's just trying to be polite and knock before he enters. I don't see the problem with that.
Very true. Could be considered like a knocking gesture. Getting that spin cancel there looked pretty fast to me. Going into the sewers, gonna fight Blooper to get access to not only the Ultra Boots but also Chapter 7.
So the blocks here are important. If they miss them, they have to eat the bubbleberry they collected. The ink attack is also faster than the body slam by a few frames.
Alright, both getting the ink first, blocking it. And let's see how it goes. Corkscrew for JCog, also blocked. Ink again for ch0msky, and gets the block. So, both of them at 13 health, gonna do this power bounce here on Blooper to kill. So hopefully, if the rest of the sewers go well, they will still be pretty even, and one of them won't have to eat an item to recover their life. Yeah, I got worried when it was double ink for ch0msky. I know he's kind of complained about those blocks recently. So JCog going through the first of many treacherous sewers rooms. ch0msky taking it a little bit slow, still kind of giving me a scare there. ch0msky taking that room very carefully because he did get encountered in that room there just recently on one of his best run of ever. So definitely very cautious now. JCog getting the spare life shroom, it looked like, and could give ch0msky the opportunity to make up some time here. And ch0msky taking it a little easy, jumping over that spiny. Still very close coming out of that room. Jumping over the Dark Koopas. This Dark Koopa room is pretty scary. Both of them get by without a problem, so they'll be at 13 life for the Junior Troopa fight, and probably both are going to go for the double block on Junior Troopa. They're going to need to block both of Junior's attacks to get into peril. But very good sewers. No encounters, which is very good. And they're going to upgrade Lackey for a second time. Going to get his fourth ability, Hurricane. And pretty useful for some of the fights coming up. So, into Chapter 7 with, I don't know, we'll see how much of a difference. Less than 5 seconds, it looks like. Yeah, 3 seconds of difference for these guys. Absolutely ridiculous. We're coming up on the 3-hour mark, and there's a 3-second difference between these two. And definitely some more stuff could happen in this chapter as well. JCog switching to Sushi there before the door closes for a little bit of time save. And yeah, the fights are better at low health. We saw a badge earlier, and they have a badge equipped called Mega Rush. And when Mario's in peril, which is at 1 HP, they are going to be able to do 4 extra damage as Mario, which is very, very useful for pretty much every fight in this category. And yeah, both of them getting accused of murdering the mayor penguin here.
So I think JCog now has 3 live streams. I don't think he lost one. Is that correct?
Correct. He has 3. So he probably wanted the one for safety in case he had to eat one in the sewers. But yeah, he does have 3 now for safety. Didn't lose a lot of time going for it, but gave ch0msky opportunity to make up a couple seconds, which ch0msky did want because his movement was a little flubbed in the sewers. JCog is saving a little bit of time, a second so far since getting to Shiver City, which is pretty big over ch0msky's movement. So we will see what happens in the rest of Chapter 7. Some RNG could swing a few seconds in ch0msky's favor if the Junior Troopa fight goes well.
Whoa, what was that? ch0msky just like felt like hugging Herringway real quick.
Yeah, Herringway, his movement is very strange there. You can kind of get caught on him in a really strange way, so not quite sure what causes that, but about to clear their names of murder and are going to continue on with Chapter 7. So a 4-second difference for these runners. It's looking like really, really close so far. And I keep saying that, but it's very hard to understate. Is that what I'm trying to say? It's hard to understate the magnitude of this race. How close the runners are right now. I mean, you usually aren't even this close to your PB at this point in the run, so really insane performance by both these guys, putting on a really good show for this bronze match. Yes, neither of them are actually murderers, so big PogChamp moment for Mario at least. Alright, we'll see what happens in this fight. They have to block both attacks, so hopefully do not miss a block. JCog gets his first one. ch0msky as well. So just one more block and then they can power bounce. JCog in peril now. And ch0msky also hitting his second block, so JCog needing to do an extra skydive, and Junior will... What is going on? They are tied to the frame again, basically. This is ridiculous. ch0msky getting that 5 cap to even out the race once again, and JCog needing to do the extra skydive there, so ch0msky's actually now in the lead by just a handful of frames going into the Monstar fight. This is unbelievable right now. Yes, JCog just got 4 capped on the Junior fight, and that's fine. He just needed to do an extra skydive, but lost just enough time that kind of tied it up. And it looked like, did JCog just answer the wrong thing?
Yep.
He's
said yes.
yeah, he's a little behind. So
And I
you're
lost
supposed to
5
answer the
seconds.
second option. So now JCog's falling a little bit behind. So kind of ridiculous here right now for this race. Really just going back and forth. Kind of a crazy race so far. And I would be very surprised if load times are different between these guys by any even like a frame of difference. Just because they're both playing on the same console, so there shouldn't be a noticeable change in loads.
Yeah, we're not exactly sure how loads work. Like, for example, if you're leaving a room that has, like, a few coins on the ground, it might take longer to load the next room, but we're not really sure on that, so...
A little bit awkward movement there for ch0msky. JCog looks like he'll make up a little bit of time, but wow, going for all the safe strats, all the backups, gonna grab the rappel there behind the tree, and choosing to take all these time losses for a little bit of safety. He shouldn't need those, but you know, if ch0msky does miss some blocks on Final Bowser, could be game over for him. Hopefully it won't come to that though. And JCog still hasn't changed off of Paracarry. He could probably do that now. Yeah, he switches to Cooper there. A little bit faster for ch0msky, who did it when he was walking up to that house in Starborn Valley. So ch0msky saving just even more time right now, trying to stretch out his lead as much as possible, and we'll see how that goes for him going into Crystal Palace pretty soon. Yeah, there have been multiple frame-perfect syncs throughout this entire run, and considering we've seen 3 hours of this race, that is kind of ridiculous. I mean, pretty unprecedented for Paper Mario, probably most any speed game that goes on for this long. This would be very unexpected.
And usually by this point in the runner's like, one's like far ahead, one's far behind, but that's not the case for these two.
Yeah, JCog and ch0msky absolutely putting on a show today for this bronze match. We will see if it's also this close with the finals match. Who knows? It's up to you, Glower. Up to you and Butter. So, ch0msky going into this Dupligos fight, the first fight where we'll see Hurricane be used. Switching to Lackluster and using Hurricane. Alright, so both of these guys very good at Hurricanes, so shouldn't have any problems. JCog did have a little bit of trouble with this one in his semifinal race. Fortunately got pretty lucky, and the two Dupligos did run away, but didn't have any problems mashing later, so yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they don't have any problems. ch0msky flubbing a spin cancel there. Spin cancel is definitely a risky thing to go for, because if you flub them, if you mess them up, which is pretty easy to do, you're going to be losing time over just not going for them at all. But starting this cutscene now, still extremely close as they ascend Shiver Mountain. All right, we'll see what kind of pace they look to be on as they enter the Crystal Palace coming up here soon. Probably looking like a 7 or 8 second difference, maybe. A little bigger since JCog did opt to grab that repel gel behind the tree, which normally people don't go for at this level of skill, but definitely a safety that is worth considering at least. So yeah, about an 8 second difference for these runners as they start the Crystal Palace. We'll see how their Crystal Palace movement is. ch0msky getting that ridiculous spin cancel. Looked like off the pillar. But yeah, just really clean movement. And we'll see who can gain some time over the other. Coming up on the second use of Hurricane here for ch0msky. Another set of Dupla Ghosts. Yes, hopefully ch0msky does not hit the switch an extra time in the main room. Alright, so ch0msky is hitting it on the way there, on the way to the door. JCog as well. Hopefully ch0msky remembers not to hit it on the way back as well.
So a fun fact about this little minigame is that there's actually a shadow that still follows Mario. Kinda hard to see it, but it is there.
Interesting. I'm having a little trouble seeing it, but
Yeah, I can't really see it either, but it is there. Probably easier to tell if you're playing the game yourself and moving around.
probably. In any event, getting the red key, both of them, heading back to the main room. ch0msky still has a good lead here. I know he's not a fan of Crystal Palace movement, but he's been working on it, so we'll see how it plays out for him. And then, yeah, the next big bit of RNG is the Crystal King fight. They do not want a 3 cap on that fight. It hasn't happened yet in this tournament race, or in this tournament. Hopefully it does not happen here today, but a 4 cap versus a 5 cap is a few seconds as well. So if they are still within a few seconds, that could also tie it up again.
Another fun fact is that these coins are actually worth 2 instead of 1 for some reason. ch0msky has 13 coins, and he's going to collect 3 of these because they're all in the way. And that'll put him at 19, I believe.
Yeah, and Glower's also predicting how many he'll pick up, because not only do these coins count double, they also fall in exactly the same parts and exactly the same count as like every single time. So 1 will land exactly on ch0msky here. Yeah, so he just collected 1 without having to move. And he's out of the Hurricane Gauntlet. and misses that spin cancel.
Yeah, that's the only instance in the entire game where 2 coins are actually worth, or sorry, where 1 coin is actually worth 2. Very weird that it just, for some reason, works.
Seems like JCog here has shortened the deficit to about 7 seconds instead of 8, so potentially making up some time for movement so far, and that definitely wants to be to the point where he can edge out a few seconds from RNG here and there over the course of the next chapter and a half. So we'll see what happens. ch0msky missing a few hammers there. JCog as well. A little lost there, both of them. Kind of a risky spin there, maybe from JCog, but all right, and then we'll continue on to get one more badge. I believe it's the last badge they will collect for the rest of the run. They're going to get a badge called P up, D down, and that will let them... That will increase Mario's attack by 1. His attack power by 1, but decrease his defense by 1. That's going to be useful for a few fights just at the end of the game. So... JCog still right on ch0msky's heels here as they go to get the final key. Okay, do not want to encounter that duplicate. Looked a little close on ch0msky's part. JCog getting by. Oh no, and ch0msky, that's what I was worried about. ch0msky taking that encounter. Wait, JCog did not get it. Oh, and they both got that duplicate encounter. So, still gonna... Commentator's curse, exactly. That's all my fault. So, wow, both of them taking that encounter, so not really changing the lead, but really big break for ch0msky. That could have been a lot worse for him. So, we will have to see at Crystal King what happens, because this is JCog's last opportunity to make up some time in Chapter 7 at least, but definitely some time to be lost and gained in Chapter 8.
Yeah, you do not need coins for anything. The shops are all too far out of the way and overpriced, and other resources that the shops have can be collected elsewhere in quicker locations. So we don't do any shopping.
Yeah, it's not a big deal that he lost coins. The reason it's a big deal that he got an encounter, I'm definitely saving here. So this is ch0msky's first save. JCog as well, I hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's a big deal that he got an encounter.
Probably pretty much the one that in a race setting. Because if you 3-cap, there is a backup, but it doesn't always work. So there's a chance you just die.
Yeah, they don't want to see a 3-cap, so they're going to have to block 5 out of 6 of these attacks from Crystal King. Hopefully it goes well for them. They do have their dried shroom. Quick 3 from ch0msky and JCog as well, so they should not have a problem with this fight, except for the cap, but hopefully not.
In a race this close, the 5-cap and the 4-cap are going to make a big difference, I think.
Yeah, the reason it matters that ch0msky got that encounter, by the way, is encounters are... Okay. encounters are about 10 to 12 seconds lost, and as you can maybe tell, but this race is... Okay, getting the 5 cap there. Was that a 3 cap?
No.
No, that was a 4 cap. Okay, I'm sorry, I freaked out. So 4 cap for JCog. ch0msky will pull a little bit more ahead with that 5 cap. But yeah, so ch0msky got that encounter, and I was worried because that's about 10 to 12 seconds just for getting that encounter, and this race is closer than 10 to 12 seconds, so that would have changed the lead in JCog's favor. And it looked like a 43 card grab for ch0msky, going to be a 48 for JCog. So 5 seconds of difference right now for these runners. Ridiculously close. And we are over 3 hours in right now. All right, last bathroom break of the run. So if you need to go get some water, go to the bathroom before we head into this incredibly hyped Chapter 8, as we are 5 seconds between the runners right now. Definitely this is the time to go grab some water, use the bathroom, do whatever you got to do. Don't miss the next 40 minutes of this race, because it's definitely looking like it'll go down to the wire. So Chapter 8 is pretty execution heavy and a lot of RNG. It's very difficult. So we will see what happens. And hopefully they can remain tied or close to tied at least until the final boss rush. And that would be just ridiculous. Hopefully that's what we'll see happen. Yes, feel free to grab a beer. I'm taking up the duty of making sure everyone stays hydrated. So, of course, I'm recommending water, but get your drink of choice. Get a snack, maybe. They'll be making their way to Chapter 8. Yes, as long as you're old enough. Thank you, Dreaded.
Oh, man.
Oh, really close for ch0msky there. That was... Wow. I'm not quite sure why he decided to go down there, but he almost paid the price.
Also, something really noteworthy is ch0msky has completely skipped the repel gel, so he only has 1 for Final Bowser now. If he misses the wave walk, I think he is dead.
No, he can win if he misses the wave block. My PB has kind of that fight. He should only need 1 repel. As long as the rest of the fight goes well. But
do you have to get Peril for that to work? Or is it still winnable without that?
No, you can just power jump and shell shot. Alright, headed to Shooting Star Summit again. The first time since Prologue. Very good example of backtracking, in my opinion. I think we were talking about this the other day, but going back to visit Shooting Star Summit, where they'll be accessing Star Haven, and they'll be able to get to Bowser's Castle from there. ch0msky flubbing his movement a little bit. JCog should be able to make up some... probably like a second at least here just on this movement. ch0msky definitely listening in now that he sends his chat message. First chat message from ch0msky.
I'm actually not sure of, like... I don't have very much experience with the safe route, because I usually, like, do PB attempts and I do the risky. So...
Yeah. My PB has a missed wave block, and I only had one repel, so I'd have to look at that. Alright, about to get into the flying boat, whatever it canonically is. Let's level access Chapter 8, Bowser's Castle. Yes, also known as the bathtub. It's known affectionately as the bathtub by some runners. Alright, pretty cool music here on ch0msky's side. As preparing to start Chapter 8, enter Bowser's Castle and start the next chapter, the final chapter. Yeah, this is the ending to a race you do not want to miss right now. Probably one of the closest races of any game I've seen, especially when you account for just the length of the game, like percentage-wise, the amount of time difference versus the amount of time the run takes. Very, very close race. They've gone back and forth. They've been tied to the frame at several parts, so it's been a really, really hype experience to watch this. We'll see what happens in Chapter 8.
I think at the moment it's only a 7-second difference.
Yeah, extremely close. So going into this Koopa Troll fight for the key, JCog will exit the battle to a little bit to his left, and we'll see what kind of key direction they get. At this point, you know, really everything matters. So this key could, all right, going to the right for ch0msky, not the best. Getting the good key directions, JCog. So JCog's saving some time there in that room alone. Probably made up a second there. And ch0msky getting by pretty quickly here. And coming up on the first encounter with Door 1. And then we have probably the hardest part of Chapter 8 for both these runners coming up. The lava basement as well as the blind basement. So we'll see what that looks like in just about a minute. So
Alright, ch0msky only has 2 live streams, JCog has 3. Both of them opting to skip the jail.
I'm sure ch0msky knows he will, if he does start missing blocks, he is probably not going to win anyway, so that's probably what he's banking on. Not getting those safeties and hoping for a clean fight at the end. ch0msky apparently watching the GSA stream. He might want to close that right now. I mean, I don't want to tell him what to do, but I would be very nervous if I knew it was this close going into the final section. Alright, getting that jump is ch0msky. Pretty difficult. Oh, and JCog missing it. So he's going to have to wait for this platform again to go another cycle.
It's a
ch0msky
special
getting
cat
both
to
of
miss
those
that
jumps.
one. Because the
Yeah,
platform
compared to
has
the
to go
other one.
further to the left than the other one. Like right here, it only has to go a small amount to the left and then it turns around. So the first one is more important than the second one in terms of getting it.
Yeah, ch0msky having a very clean lava basement. And JCog falling in the lava once, so not the biggest deal. He's probably about 15, almost 15 seconds behind now. Gonna do this lackey strat. He's gonna try and catch this platform early in its cycle, early enough to reverse it. Some weird property of this platform. If you ride onto it with Lackey, oh, he didn't get there early enough, so. But if you get there at a certain point in that platform cycle and ride Lackey onto it, it will actually reverse instantly, so. But didn't get that time save there, unfortunately. And probably about 15 seconds behind or so is JCog. Going into this basement fight.
So there's a chance that the Magic Koopa does not run. They want it to run away.
Yeah, they do. It'll be a time loss if it doesn't, but not terrible. Okay, it does run away. It's pretty rare that it doesn't run away, though, so to be expected that it runs away. And yeah, wave is an attack that Final Bowser uses, so that's what we're referring to when we talk about the wave. Alright, and running away for both runners, so. Yes, this run has about 30 minutes left. And the last upgrade is BP. Ooh, dodging the Super Shroom drop is JCog. See if JCog can get this cool spin straight onto the lava. Not quite, but we will now head into the blind basement, and this is also a challenging part of Chapter 8. And I could have sworn JCog used a filter on his capture card. Maybe he forgot to enable it. Or, no. He started doing it on his TV, I think. Or does he just do it on his TV? In any event, they're going to go through this basement completely blind. Now, you're supposed to use Watt to be able to see where you're going. But the way they did darkness in this game is such that you can see everything. It's just very, very dark. So if you have a good enough TV, or you change some settings on your capture card to be able to see, that will allow you to see the outline of the collision and some of the enemies if you're lucky. So they'll try and get through this completely blind. You obviously won't have a clue what's going on if you're just watching, but they know where they're going. Yeah, some runners choose to turn on a filter on their capture card and play on OBS, like while watching the OBS capture window, or Amarek if people still use Amarek. And they use a filter to turn up the brightness and stuff on and the gamma on their capture card. So now past door 1, we're gonna have a couple of rooms here: the flood room and the cannon room. Cannon room is an opportunity to make up some time for JCog if ch0msky does not get a clean cannon room. Alright, so flood room, pretty straightforward, not much time to be lost here. And they'll just go through the motions. Alright, so getting through this first part of the flood room, and about to grab the key is ch0msky. And he will pretty soon be out of here. JCog is on his heels. And he's going back to drain the water and leave the room. We'll be on to not, I don't want to say difficult, but definitely not the easiest part of the run. The cannon room. And what they're going to try to do is use this badge, Dizzy Attack, to spin into some of the cannon, or some of the bullet bills, sorry. And run away from those encounters and use the invincibility frames to get by the cannons, because the cannons, although you could encounter the cannons and run from them, are very hard to run from, and it's much easier to run from the bullet bills, especially when you dizzy spinned into them. Yeah, an extra encounter so there are 4 sets of cannons, so ch0msky only wants to get 4 encounters, and that's it. He gets any... Ooh, whoa. That was close.
Yeah, I question that movement.
That was very intriguing. But luckily for ch0msky, it worked out. And so, yeah, any extra encounters besides the 4 he uses to get through these platforms is going to be a time loss, and perhaps an opportunity for JCog to catch up. Messing up his movement there a little, probably due to the lag or something. And getting that swag spin into the metal. These last 2 platforms are the hardest, so we'll see how this last one goes for ch0msky.
Yep. I would definitely say the last 2 cannons are hardest because the path through them is the longest.
Yep.
And when you begin the room, the bullet bills are sort of on a cycle. At least the first ones that spawn are, but after a little bit it becomes RNG how they spawn.
Alright, so it's looking like about 15 seconds, and this guy can Okay, ch0msky gets by there without getting boned.
I don't
Very
know
bad
if
to
I
get
can
that.
make this. Okay, yes.
Yeah, he can, okay.
It was a little close.
So, no extra encounters for either of them in the cannon room, but JCog could still get boned here. Okay, so neither of them getting boned. ch0msky's gonna lure this hammer bro. He does it fine. But JCog gets it as well, so maintaining this, I want to say about 15-second lead. Gonna check on getting the key, so 26 key for ch0msky. JCog also during this lure. Flubbing the movement afterward a little, but it should be okay. Yeah, he's fine.
I think it's 16 seconds.
15 to 16 is what I got, so
Yep.
still very close. And we'll see how the ending of Chapter 8 plays for both of these runners. Definitely within 1 fight. You know, if 1 fight goes wrong, you could see a lead change for sure. Yeah, if you have any bless RNG emotes or any Pog emotes, get ready to break those out, especially if you have some JCog champs, ch0msky Pogs, or any of the GSA emotes. We got to get on that, making a GSA bless emote for sure. Alright, so getting through the quiz, they obviously know the answers. Don't need to worry about figuring them out.
Yep. Answers for this quiz are always the same. It'd be pretty annoying if they were randomized, because then you'd have to know how to answer them.
Yeah, it's not even the easiest to answer casually, from what I remember. Something like how many feet are on red enemies entering the second door or something like that.
Yeah.
But Chomsky has passed it, and they're still fairly close, going approaching door 3 now. They do have kind of a maze section, so just basically movement here. And Fetus Flytrap cheering 75 bits. Thank you for the 75 bits. Yeah, so very close. It's going to be a lot of just movement here, dodging these encounters, and JCog just trying to make up as much time through movement as he can. Chomsky getting that quick lure there on that guy. And entering the maze now is Chomsky. And Headness, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. Headness, the Pape Legend. Thank you for supporting this GSA event. Fetus Flytrap, thank you for your Twitch Prime sub. Much appreciated, everyone, for supporting the stream. Hopefully everyone is enjoying this race as much as Glower and I are. This is extremely exciting to watch, and very interested to see how it plays out. Just been really excited to commentate this, and they're coming up on Dupla Ghosts now. The last use of Hurricane before we enter the boss rush at the end of the game here.
JCog opting to switch to Lackey outside of battle, and Chomsky inside of battle. It doesn't make too much of a difference.
Alright, so less than 15 seconds difference now, if my timing was just correct. Alright, so switching to Bo, equipping his badges. And we'll see what happens here. Going for a 4 cap on this fight. Oh, JCog's hesitating on these badge equips. Ooh, and very clean after that hesitation.
Yeah, he must have had to scroll the route down or something to see.
Yeah, or make sure he had it right. Anyway, both runners are going to be going for a 4 cap on this fight. They're going to charge for 4 turns and then hope for a 4 cap. A 3 cap would be very bad. It would be, I don't know what the time loss is for a 4 cap or a 3 cap, but very bad is the answer. There is a backup, but it's at least 30 seconds, probably a lot more. But yeah, you would hate to see that for one of these runners. All right, and Chomsky will start bouncing right now.
Oh man.
Oh, he did that the other night too. Okay, and the 4 bounce for Chomsky. So, not a problem in this fight, and JCog about to do his power bounce as well. Hopefully does not accidentally select power jump. Alright, and both getting that 4 bounce. So, both out of Junior Troopa, gonna eat this jam and jelly. And coming up on Hallway Bowser, we have 2 more fights left in this run. And still very close. Hallway Bowser could make this a tied run. One of them gets a 2-turn, and one of them gets a 3-turn, potentially. So we'll see how Hallway Bowser goes, and then we'll be coming up on Final Bowser. And I expect JCog will save. We're not really sure if Chomsky will save, but it could really come down to the wire, guys. So hope everyone's ready for an intense ending, and get some bless emotes in the chat right now. Chomsky coming up on Hallway Bowser now.
So the pace between these 2 runners is so close that these caps matter a lot. If Chomsky gets a 4-turn and JCog gets a 2-turn, the lead is going to switch.
Yep. So looks like Chomsky got the 5 bounce?
Yep.
Did
could've
not go
gone
for
higher.
7, but probably not a bad choice. We will see what happens. He wants a 5 bounce again here. Oh, 4 bounces for JCog. Oh, and a 4 cap. Okay, so looking like maybe a 3 turn for both of them. So.
Lloyd, thank you for the subscription.
Oh yeah. Also, I didn't. And Lopez, thank you so much for the subscription as well. So, yeah,
I'll
both
give you
getting
this
a
one.
3 turn here. Both getting a 3 turn here. So keeping that almost 15-second lead for ch0msky. It is going to come down to the final Bowser pattern. So,
Wow.
this is really a nail biter, and it could go either way. And we'll get into what makes a good pattern in a second here when they get closer to phase 2. But this is incredibly close and very hype right now. So ch0msky opting to skip the save. Don't really blame him because this run has been insane already. So if he dies, probably, well, I don't know. JCog probably gonna save. Nope, JCog also not saving.
They
They
must.
know how close it is. Yeah,
They must
they're
both
both
know
resigning
how close
themselves
this is,
to.
and that's why they're skipping the saves. I really hope they both don't die. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, that's what I hope. They would have to replay
All of chapter
all
8.
of chapter 8.
It was
Yeah,
after
and
Crystal.
that's. All right, well, they're about to start phase 1, and they're in peril, so they're going to go for a couple of power bounces, and they want to see a 4 and a 3 bounce. No more and no less, so they will stop if they are going to get a 4 bounce on the second one. So the reason they want an exact 4 and 3 is that will do just enough damage to put Bowser at 66 HP for phase 2.
Okay.
Just 3 cap there. So he wants a 4 bounce.
If ch0msky doesn't get a 4 cap here, he's going to have to switch to Pair Carry and Skydive. That's going to lose a few seconds over JCog.
Yep. And JCog does get a 4 bounce,
Okay.
and ch0msky does as well. So ch0msky wiping a little sweat off his brow right now. So they're both going to have the same kind of phase 1 here. Going to Starbeam immediately for ch0msky, and JCog is going to stop this bounce at 3. Gets capped anyway, and he will Starbeam as well. And we will wait for this twink fight to be over. Oh
I'm
man,
sweating for these runners right now.
this is kind of ridiculous.
So ch0msky has a lead by about, I think, 15 seconds. Yeah, it's almost right on the dot at 15 seconds. So if ch0msky does not get Peril, but JCog does, this could turn around and JCog could pull it back. It's going to depend on RNG
Yes,
though.
so there are a lot of things that could go on with phase 2, so we'll talk about a few of them. Bowser, their general plan is going to be to power jump and shell shot until they lose their life stream after 3 attacks. And after that, the attack Bowser gives is random. He can give any attack out of wave. Yeah, he can give any of his attacks. So the 2 that they're looking for are lightning or fire. Lightning is very rare, so we're banking on fire. And what fire will do is they'll block it for 9 HP, and it'll give them peril. And if they have peril, they're going to go for a power bounce, and that's a faster fight than getting any other attack. So both of them are looking to get peril on that 4th or 5th turn after they lose a life stream. If they don't, they'll be in danger. And if they're in danger, they're going to use a repel gel, and the rest of the fight is basically just going to be power jumping and shell shotting. And that's not the optimal fight, but it wins. And then the other random element is when Bowser uses Star Shield, which is the Star Rod shield beam, whatever it is. And so they could get a double beam pattern which means that Bowser shields twice. And that's really slow because the animation of him shielding and then the animation of using Peach Beam and then missing out on the damage for that turn, it just combines to be pretty slow. So they don't want to get a double beam. So they're going to... Beamless is obviously the fastest, very rare. They're looking for 1 beam, Peril, and then a 5 bounce. If they get Peril, they're going to go for a power bounce. And if they get a 5 bounce, that's incredibly fast. So that's the fight they're looking for, is lose a life shroom, get Peril on fire or lightning, and do a power bounce and get a 5 cap. Any other caps will work and they'll win, but they'll be slower. So that's kind of the gist of it, and ch0msky will head into this fight right now. Very hyped right now. So yeah, bless RNG for these runners. So starting with the Peach Beam, gonna switch to Paracarry now. Both of these runners doing the same thing.
They're going to have to block every attack that is thrown at them, including lightning or wave, which those two are generally the hardest ones to block.
Okay, their blocks are going fine right now. Very important to get that turn 4/turn 5.
Oh no, ch0msky
And ch0msky gets a turn 3 beam. That's really bad. So he's supposed to lose a life stream on this turn. When it says he's going to Peach Beam, use Shell Shot, and then he'll lose a life stream next turn, but don't want to see a turn 3 beam. That's just a really high chance of a double beam pattern. JCog he's losing that life stream right now. This is very slow for ch0msky. So JCog is losing a life stream right now. He's going to get a chance to get in Peril here, and we'll see what attack he gets. This is major right now. Okay, and he gets a turn 4 shield, which is the most common pattern. Bowser didn't have to attack that turn, so we'll see what happens. This is really tight. Okay, so ch0msky got butt stomped. He totally should have unblocked that. So he's going to use a repel and just keep power bouncing. He should win now. But if ch0msky, or if JCog gets Peril, if he gets a fire attack and blocks it, he did. He's going to go for a power bounce. He can get a 5 bounce, and that would be ridiculous. So we'll see what cap he gets. Oh my god, he got a 5 cap!
He gets the 5! Oh my god.
Oh my god, and JCog will win this
unbelievable
bronze match race. That was unbelievable.
Greatest upset in speedrunning
my
history.
God. And JCog getting the Star Rod. ch0msky will finish off Bowser, presumably with a jump or something. And so, really just a terrible fight for ch0msky, but JCog getting really the best RNG he could ask for to take this win over ch0msky right now. And ch0msky doing a hammer to kill Bowser, a little swag. Wow, what an ending to this bronze match race between JCog and ch0msky. What a way for that to go down. And ch0msky will collect the Star Rod right here. About a 40-second difference, I think, just due to that Bowser fight. So JCog absolutely wiping the sweat off his brow, breathing a huge sigh of relief. ch0msky probably not the happiest with Bowser right now. Unbelievable to watch that go down.
I can only feel bad for ch0msky at the moment. He got turn 3 beam, and JCog got like the fastest pattern.
JCog got
with the safe
almost the fastest fight.
I'll let the runners speak for themselves during the interviews, but wow.
Yeah.
That was really quite something.
Wow, and that race was just through and through really insanely hyped to watch. And you know, some of you were here the whole time, but this race started with ch0msky at a pretty big lead in prologue, uncharacteristically of JCog. But yeah, I mean, from the start, they were very close. I mean, they were tied to the frame at several points in this run. Several points of this run, they came back to tie it to the frame. So some of that perfect sync going on. And for probably 95% of this race, the difference between these two runners was less than 10 seconds. Or less than 15, maybe. But incredibly close. They spent so much time going back and forth. 5 seconds away from each other, tied. 3 seconds, 10 seconds from each other. Unbelievable run to watch and commentate. Very hype showing from both of these guys. And I really could not ask for a better race to watch today.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on it. We'll get the runners in here after they get to the end of the game and Peach raises her hands. Oh boy.
Yeah, I would say that is probably the best race we've had so far.
Yeah, that might be the best race of Paper Mario ever. I don't know.
I don't know either.
That is pretty ridiculous. And I mean, these guys just have to be really proud of themselves to put on such an incredible show for this bronze match today. And hopefully we'll see something pretty crazy in the finals as well. We can only hope. Yes, it was our pleasure commentating that kind of race. So kind of letting the ending play out a little bit. In just 2 minutes, JCog will come up on the end of the run, and ch0msky about 40 seconds behind or so. Thanks, Lopez. I appreciate that. It was very fun to commentate this. These guys absolutely put on a show. And you know, despite that Bowser fight, I think ch0msky has everything to be proud of this performance for. So big props to both these guys. And pretty soon they'll be ending, and you'll hear it from themselves what they thought about that run. ch0msky, I know, was watching for at least a bit of that run, so he knew what was going on. And I'm not sure if JCog was in on the excitement. I don't know if he knew exactly what had been going on, so we'll get the chance to talk to him. And he will skip Luigi here. Oh no, he's gonna take Luigi. Let's go. JCog choosing to take Luigi to the party for, I think, the first time in this GSA tournament.
JCog just tearing his shirt off and flexing as hard as he can. And he's staying still. What
Absolutely.
is he doing?
Oh, JCog. JCog. He's doing all sorts of
like
BM,
I said,
of
rip the
swag.
shirt off and flex real hard.
Yeah, the hardest flex. And he's, I'm sure, going to be talking to Vince. Who wouldn't? At the climax of such a hype race. ch0msky choosing to bypass Luigi, performing Luigi skip by just holding down to enter that pipe early, getting that spin cancel. ch0msky's just playing it out. He doesn't have time for such antics. No Vince as well.
We're getting
And
word that
JCog.
is bugging out.
All right, and JCog is your third place GSA Glitchless Invitational winner. and I believe that's him in the car right now.
My RAFnet was having issues at the end there.
Oh, was it? Okay. We
We
thought
thought
you were
you were
just
really flexing hard.
No,
just
God,
flexing,
no.
just super flexing.
No, I was freaking out.
Oh, so you?
I was
weren't
holding
watching,
down and
you-
Luigi skip wasn't happening, and I'm like, oh God,
Oh,
what is
wow.
happening?
We thought you just took Luigi.
No,
Welcome to
not-
the call as well, ch0msky.
What's up, guys?
20 seconds
Yeah.
difference. So
I think
Sorry,
it's safe to say that that could be one of the greatest pape races of all time.
that was insane. So JCog, I know ch0msky was watching for a lot of that. Are you aware of what
Yeah, I had
kind
this
of race you just? Okay, so you knew what was going on, and so you guys both knew how crazy and hype this performance was. Just really insane to watch the whole 4 hours of it. You guys went back and forth a lot and were tied a lot. And when I say tied, I mean it. So I guess JCog, as the victor, do you have anything you want to say about the run, how the run went, how you're feeling?
I mean, for me personally, I felt like for the most part I played well. Other than, I mean, forgetting the jam and jelly, I backed that up decently well though. But yeah, overall played well. I feel like you played better throughout ch0msky, but sometimes RNG goes one way.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I fumbled around in the jungle quite a bit, and I made a couple other mistakes. But I think the cool part was until Final Bowser, we got like pretty much identical RNG.
We did.
Yeah. So I mean, it didn't turn out that way in the end, but it was pretty close to being even RNG. So
Yeah,
pretty
Peril
cool to
5
see.
caps are a pretty rare fight.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
at least you and Butter, the RNG gap was much bigger than this. So
That's true.
yeah, no, yeah, I thought it was a really good race. I think, yeah, I lost time kind of in the end game. I think JCog has a stronger like mid to end game.
Yeah,
So I was
you're.
kind of.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just in general, your early game is better than mine. Like, I'm pretty sure your golds are better there for the most part than mine are.
That's the one good thing about resetting all the time. So yeah, that basically it kind of went how I expected. Like, I kind of was making some progress in the beginning over JCog, but then he just finished stronger. Then Bowser memed on me, but really good race, I'd say.
Yeah, certainly entertaining.
Extremely fun to watch and commentate. I hope is super hype for everyone watching as well. You guys both have a lot to be proud of for putting on this kind of performance for everyone. So I hope you guys both enjoyed the race. You guys played really well, and I hope everyone watching also enjoyed a lot. That was just an insane race. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this bronze match. JCog is your third place victor for this GSA Glitchless Invitational, and ch0msky is in fourth place. So tune in sometime soon to be announced, to be determined, when Butterlord and I'm Glower, who is here right now, are going to play for the championship first and second place match in this Glitchless Invitational. So tune in for that. Stay tuned. Keep an eye on the schedule, ! schedule, to see when that's happening. And you can check out how the bracket looked, ! bracket, and get your merch, ! merch, all that good stuff. And keep up to date by following this Twitch page and checking out the Discord. Do all that good stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the runners for putting on an incredible show. Once again, Glower, if you have anything to say it.
Hi.
There you heard him.
Okay, I do have one question for JCog.
What's that?
What made you want to save before the hard fight in Chapter 3?
Oh, just because I know that's one where, every now and then I'll, miscount the number of
The power
rooms.
bounces?
And then... Or not the power bounces, the rooms, and then, do the...
Oh, for the equips, yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
good point.
there's a lot of time to lose, so...
Well, you ended up winning, so
It's true.
it worked.
Worth it.
Anyway, yeah, thanks so much for watching the Invitational. Still have one more match, so tune into that. But thanks for watching today. I've been Blue Crystal. with I'm Glower on commentary. Go check out these runners, twitch.tv/JCog, twitch.tv/ch0msky with a 0, not an O. And we will see you next time for the hype final between Butter and Glower. So thanks everyone for watching. Goodbye.
Thanks for having us.